songs together. Still waiting. Hey man, I got my cousin that raps, man. Yo, then you make sure check that out. That song. What the fuck? What's the song about? What's your Twitter?
I just wanted to come out and have a drink.
What up, fam?
Clear my mind.
Nah, I just came out to have a drink, man. Got the studio.
I look like that's gonna happen.
Album's coming through. Keep your eyes open for it.
I just wanna make the best of it.
Yo, give me another drink.
I come out swinging, they stinging, opening bell with steel ringing. In the center of the ring, bird circle, your head singing. You're leaking, crowd tweaking, amongst themselves speaking. Will he die? Who can survive a beating of that kind? Reaping what's been sown, the jungle is my home. A lion heart, making this jungle my own. Kingdoms crumble when throwing stones at my throne. Get left with bruised lungs, ruptured kidneys and broke bones. Bass in the body, all the highs in your head. Got your insides crying, bet you wish you were dead. Bet it feel like dope, my fists made out of lead. The things you put your body through to get you some bread. I put the pain away, it's all in my head. Your pain laying there with you in the hospital bed. The truth that you born to lose, you never gon' get ahead. My truth is 100 proof, I'd rather win instead. I am a beast from a jungle of concrete. Walking, stalking, watching, hawking, running, hunting to find beef. I'm hungry, wishing will find me. I'ma leave a pile of bone behind me. Break the cage with this rage and set myself free. I fight to survive, this in my nature, this is why I'm alive. Why I'm so unstoppable and refuse to die. Why I won't pray for God's sake, I won't lie. Still, let you get the kill and take what's mine. A warrior on the battlefield, ready to die. Fully focused, throwing daggers through both of your eyes. I fight to survive, fight so that my family thrive. I fight to release the savage beast I'm keeping inside. I'm fighting failure, fighting for the rights of my people. I fight cause I can, fight to the death, fight to be equal. You'll fight for your life, every other fight you fought was feeble. You'll fight to survive cause this fight here just might be lethal. Winning hurts, but losing is so much pain. With no gain, your face man, I fold up your frame. Forgot your own name, I made mush of your brains. I guess now you're realizing this is more than a game. More than the competition, making money or fame. More than the crowd of fight fans screaming my name. More than the powder falling fighters stood in my way. It's more like I love to fight, there's nothing more I can say. I am a beast from a jungle of concrete. Walking, stalking, watching, hawking, running, hunting to find beef. I'm hungry, wishing will find me. I'ma leave a pile of bone behind me. Break the cage with this rage and set myself free. I fight to survive, this in my nature, this is why I'm alive. Why I'm so unstoppable and refuse to die. Why I won't pray for God's sake, I won't lie. Still, let you get the kill and take what's mine. Walking, stalking, watching, hawking, running, hunting to find beef. Hungry, wishing will find me. I'ma leave a pile of bone behind me. Break the cage with this rage and set myself free. I fight to survive, this in my nature, this is why I'm alive. Why I'm so unstoppable and refuse to die. Why I won't pray for God's sake, I won't lie. Still, let you get the kill and take what's mine. play with your life, alright, let's go. If it's my time, I'ma kill each rhyme, eat each beat, bleed each line, feed these streets, cross each line to this motherfucking industry. Give me mine, shine, big check. Somebody call Jay, tell him I got next. LA relay, bar that desk. Jimmy Iovine, I'ma ride that jet. Alicia Keys, let's talk about sex. Scenes in a movie on a Hollywood set. Steam the jacuzzi if you wanna get wet. Everything I seen in my dreams will go get. I know when I go, I'ma break every heart in Chicago. From way out west to the lie, though I survive, though I will not go. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Success, better than death, better than letting the wind take my breath, better than slaving for you with no rest. I'd rather make my dollars off of my cents, rather get paid, laid on the beach in the shade. Never here but I can't stay, back to the block, back to the spot, cause it's hot and the ghetto still need to be saved. My work ain't done, brand new pot, new pun, they both came back, made one. Me, C-H-I-Y, won't this industry honor me? Lost in the hate where the grind is be, landed a great unsigned MCs, murder for the paper, send it to your maker if you try to design me. I've been there and done it, the hundred, for stacking these hundreds for things that I wanted, seeing you flaunt it, me jumping on it, taking what's yours and make like I own it. This world is mine, relax, I'm taking my time, pushing these fakes out the shine, blowing these birds off the sky, moving these hoes off the shy, making it mine, watching it rise. Respect the design, witness how far I have climbed, witness the madness inside of my mind. Why am I asking and wondering why? I'm willing to die, long as my city survive and make it through poverty's cries. Break through the hate, see through the fake and the lies, and thank God that I am alive. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Not my time till I am ready to go. Salute, salute, salute. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sha Il Reacts. Number 23, I am your host, Sha Il. Salutes to you for being here on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. I hope everybody's having a good day themselves. We're here to spend a little bit of time before I got to go handle familial responsibilities. But I appreciate you guys being here. We got a couple of things we're going to talk about. Salutes to the chat. Chat's jumping already. For those that don't know, I like to put a little music intro and let people get in the room and hang out. There's only a few of us in here right now, but we're going to kick it and watch it grow. Pause. Salutes to Old Soul being number one in the chat today. Appreciate you, brother. Salutes to Old 30 North, one of the usual suspects. Giovanni Lopez said, I love you, boy. Love you back. Pause. Macizo Elegante. Primo Shael, appreciate the shout out last video. Salutes to you, Macizo. I appreciate you being here. Salutes to everybody that's been hanging out. It's been a very busy couple of weeks on this channel. We got a lot of good work done. We're looking for more response. We're looking for you know, the channel to pop off a bit more. We've moved closer to the end of our race to 10,000 subs up there, as you can see. Salutes to Mazizo in the chat. So you already know that business. Absolutely. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Somebody said in the chat the other day, Shy, stop begging for likes. No. Mind your business. All right? I mind mine. Go start a channel, then you can come over here and tell me what to do. Until then, we're going to keep doing dope stuff. I can't say the word SH, you know, because we're in the first 2 minutes of YouTube, of course, and they're watching me like a hawk
trying to knock me down. Sometimes they'll try to hit me for copyright on my own stuff, my own music. But we're gonna hang out. There's a couple things I want to check out, couple things I want to catch up on. Again, these last couple of weeks have been busy with interviews. We've been doing interviews. We got the Flores brothers. They came on February, I believe it was February 5th. We had the Flores twins. Then what? A week later, we had them again. Then we had Damian Cash come on here, and Jay popped up. And then we had JC from Wrong to Strong, and Jay and Damian popped up. You know, it's been a good couple of weeks. It's been very busy. Haven't been able to catch up on any of the content that's been out there, cartel content of the twins or anything. Haven't been able to keep up with nothing. Been a lot going on, a lot of trying to, you know, get things on the channel to work better, look better, feel better, all of that. Salute PR Black in the chat. Says salute to everyone. Hundreds up. Salutes to you, brother. Hundreds up. Appreciate you on the check-in. As far as the housekeeping, we have a new link in the chat for the text-to-speech messages. We were working with Power Chat. Power Chat doesn't have many payment options, so we kind of scrapped that. Maybe I'll add it as an extra opportunity or extra chance to support the channel on that level another time. But as far as today, we have a new link in the chat. So if you're looking to get your comment put on the screen and read out loud, it'll look like this. Subscriptions will look like this too. Give me one sec. Let me find a test to, here we go.
Test user donated $50. Test message.
So we got a link in the chat for that. And you can also, I believe, add media. But I got to twerk with the settings. So we'll see what's going on. But that's one way you can support the channel on that level. Yayo in the chat. Salute, bro. Salutes to you. Hunters up. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, that's the text to speech. You see it scrolling at the bottom of your screen right there. That link is in the chat. We also have super thanks, super chat, super stickers, all that good stuff activated as well. If you're looking to support the channel on that level, it's always appreciated. Also, we have one of the sponsors of our show is the Il Shop. Il Shop, we got our usual suspect jump off right here. Diego Ramos checking in the chat. What up, King? What up? Salute to you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, sir. Right, we got usual suspect logos up in here. Different color combinations. Usual suspects. Usual suspects. Right, I'm going to put this link for the shop in the chat. Pin it to the top. Boom. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I will not stop begging for likes. We're always looking for whatever the algorithm is going to do to help us get to where we got to get to. Boom. We'll pin this message up top. Wow. There it is. 030 North in here deleting messages. What's going on, man? What's going on, bro? So boom, there that is. Il Shop is pinned in the chat. Again, we got different color combinations here. Hats, hoodies. We also have the Il Cartel jump offs. Il Cartel. Different color combos. Boom, got the Hulk joint. Red joint. Right? Got the one color logo. Il Cartel. Boom. And for the backyard boss in your life, Father's Day is around the corner. Not to be mistaken with El Chapo. We got the El Wapo barbecue apron for the boss of the backyard in your life, for the metal of the man cave. So all of that stuff is available at the link that's pinned in the chat, right? Not to be mistaken with El Chapo and the Flores twins. This is El Wapo and the Gomez twins, all right? Again, salute to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here. So those are ways that you can support the channel. All right, what's popping, y'all? It was a beautiful day today. I went outside. It's like 70 degrees in Chicago in February. This is unheard of. It's terrifying and it's amazing all at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. And, man, caught some sunshine on the face. and say, you know what, let's go live early. Might be back later, not too sure. Depends how much we cover here today. I got some more links to drop in the chat. I will drop the invite for the Discord because this first story that we're gonna cover, I dropped the videos. There's a fight video attached to it. I dropped those videos in the Discord. Can't play them on YouTube. So join the Discord if you want to check those out. Otherwise, I will. I'll link the channels. I'll link the videos in the chat at the end of the show. But if you want to check them out while we're listening to it, y'all can pop into the Discord. There's the invite right there. Mike Jones in the chat on the check-in. Mr. Sha'il. Damn, I got you that. I got you that like, my brother. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much. That's what we need around here. Hit the like button. It costs nobody nothing to hit the like button. O30 North said if I did it was probably accident, but I know how to do that. All good. All good. Anything you got to say is welcome around here, brother. Paint and Roll in the chat. He said, what's up? Shout out from Little Village. Salute to you, Paint and Roll. Appreciate you being here. We hanging out. We're gonna hang out for a little while. See what happens. So So that's what we had the last couple of weeks. We've had a very active channel. Little Village to Walktown. Salute to you, bro. Appreciate you. And it kept me from covering other things that were happening, and there's always something happening. There's still a couple of things I want to get to, which is why I might come back tonight. I had to do the organizing of hard drives, and when you're dealing with video, you're dealing with a lot of gigabytes and a lot of terabytes of information, and you got to make room for everything. So I had to make room and keep things moving smoothly. But we're back now, and we're going to start covering other things. Don't get it twisted. We still got other interviews coming. I'm still working on some things behind the scenes. There's some things that didn't pan out, but there's some things that will pan out. And, I'm here to make this channel better for y'all. Paint Rose said, love the content. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much for watching. Mike Jones said, you got it, yo. Beats are fat, my brother. I appreciate you, man. I had some of the best in Chicago producing for me at that time. Big Joe, sup from Cali. Salutes to you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Master Khalid, peace from Detroit. When are the twins going to get on camera and tell their story? I don't think they're gonna get on camera. They don't get on their They don't get on. Jay don't get on camera when he does Congressman Crenshaw's show. So I wouldn't expect him to come on camera here. It's not my place to stress anybody. About getting on camera. They're in the situation that they're in, and it's their prerogative to do how they will. As you can see, most people that talk about the subject that I talk about. Don't show their face. Oakland Leaks doesn't show their face. The agents, the Mexican military and these special agents that that are kind of like Ed Calderon. A lot of them do videos. They don't show their face. So, it's a sensitive situation. I'm not here to push nobody to do nothing that they don't want to do. But they will be back. They will be back. We stay in content about the channel and about the information that's getting put out here. Listen, man, I'm in contact with a lot of people from a lot of places, and those that want to tell their story, the platform is open to them. Those that are not comfortable and just want to give me a little perspective, salute to them too. But I don't see the twins coming on and coming off camera. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 15, 20 years, maybe then. Who knows how things change? But right now, I don't see it. I mean, it's cool enough that they already come and they show love to the channel by arriving. Period. At all. Mike Jones in the chat said they still got a death sentence. They ain't going. Right. It's just safer. Safer for them, safer for their kids, safer for everybody, evidently. So, that's on them. Master Khalid said, not here on a documentary. The documentary's coming. I don't know that they're going to show their face there either. Again, which is why I had an issue with the production of not production, but the Instagram video and the production of them putting out these pictures of them as older men. It's like, wait a minute, you haven't seen pictures of them since they're in their 20s, and now you guys are outing them, but The documentary's coming. I just don't think they're gonna be on there actively showing their faces or their wives' faces or their kids' faces. We'll see. We'll see what I'm excited to see what the documentary encompasses. You know what I'm saying? Who they're talking to. Are they just talking to the twins? Are we gonna get new stories, different stories, things we didn't see before? We had Jay Flores tell us straight up, man. What we seen is 9%, 10% of what the story really is. You know, and it's a stranger than fiction story. Just gets deeper and deeper. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, I don't think they're gonna show face. Salutes to you, Master Khalid. Vernon Himes said thumbs up 100. Salutes to you, Vernon. Another usual suspect in the building. Mike Jones said, I think once the documentary comes out, the platform is really gonna blow up. This platform, I'm hoping so. I'm gonna be here to cover it. Hopefully I can get on. I appreciate you, Mike Jones. Hopefully I can get on BET's no copyright. Get on their copyright allowance list. You know what I'm saying? So that I don't get struck with copyright whenever I'm, maybe I'll try to call in some favors for that. You know what I'm saying? So that I don't get hit with copyright while covering the documentary. But we'll be here to cover it. When the TV show happens, we'll be here to cover that too. God willing, I'm alive and everything's working, the way it's working. That's what we're going to be doing. But, I see a lot of doors opening for a lot of the content that we do here and for their story in general. The TV show is going to be bananas. It has to be. That has to stand Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Wire, Game of Thrones level quality of storytelling and writing. I mean, the story tells itself. You'd have to work real hard to mess it up. 030 North said we should get that clown on a collect call from prison that kidnapped P. I'd love to hear what he has to say. Believe it or not, that has been spoken of behind the scenes. And I was given his information, and I might just shoot him an email and see if he wants to do an interview, so we can see, maybe he'll grant us a different perspective of himself. You know what I'm saying? I'd want him to see the videos we did of him first, though. I don't want him to come in here blind. I want him to know how we feel about him over here. Same thing with I'm hoping to reach out to, Finnegan's people and see if we get that back. If we get Finnegan's take back and I'm able to get to the finale without, getting copyright struck, I'll shoot out for him to get him on the show. Again, I say what I got to say about him, but I can have a conversation with him. You know what I'm saying? Will it be as pleasant as the conversation I have with the twins and with Damien Cat? Maybe not. Maybe his delusions may be a bit too much for my sensibilities. So, I'm not gonna be here to disrespect him. You know what I'm saying? Mike Jones said 030 North. That would be real shit to see what he would have to talk about. I ain't missing that one. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him, see if he could get on the phone and we have that conversation. Maybe he got somebody to throw under a bus out here. Vernon Heim says, so we can talk so much shit about him. Yeah, the chat is free to say what they want to say. And it's right there on the screen for them to read. You know what I mean? Salute Philly 500 pounds. What it do? Salute to you. Appreciate you being here. We shooting the shit, kicking the bobos. All right, we've been in here 25 minutes, so I'm able to say the word shit. So I just said it. 030 North agrees with Mike Jones. But yeah. I would like to get to the finale of Finnegan's Take and try to get Jerome Finnegan in here and let's have this conversation. I listen, from what I got from that show or the first couple of episodes that we did, from what I got from it was he still talked like the police. Like he forgot he just did a stint in prison for doing dirty shit. Humble Beast checking in the chat. What up? Salutes to you. Appreciate you being here. We're hanging out. But yeah, documentaries coming soon. Again, J and P are working on their book. That should be, that should be different too. Different from the podcast, different from Cartel Wives. Because again, Cartel Wives and Surviving El Chapo complemented each other, but they were totally two different things. Details on a different level. When you're sitting down writing a book, you can sit down and break it down, to yourself and really get them details out and paint a picture for the audience. So I'm looking forward to their book too. They're doing that with he's a fiction writer, but Again, and that's what's dope about it. Like, he's a fiction writer, right? But their story, you can't mess it up. All you got to do is tell the story. He don't have to write nothing. He don't have to add nothing. 030 North said, I want to hear how many times he robbed his mom for money. He probably grew up doing that. Snatching money out the purse. The type to take the last piece of bread from his little sister. She hungry. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get Buddy's name. Imagine an interview over the phone with El Chapo. Yeah, no. I don't know if we're going to get that far. Somebody asked in the comments too. They were like, what's next, Chapo? 50 Cent? Like, relax, y'all. All right? What's funny to me is that other people, I don't know what I'm doing wrong as far as thumbnails or titles or keywords or SEO, but the twins go on another channel, 13,000 views in 20 minutes. They come on here, YouTube throttles me. I don't know what's happening. Again, I'm not a conspiracy the likes of Hassan Campbell, but something got to give. But yeah, a call with El Chapo, that'd be that would be something crazy. Shout out DJ 20s in the chat on the check-in. Salutes to you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I was looking for this guy's name. I'll get it before the end of the. I'll keep it handy in the notes for next time. So what I wanted to get to today that I saw was. So the other night I told you it was a homie that passed away, his birthday. Salute Vernon Himes in the chat. He said, keep on grinding, will do. Diego Ramos said, we here, we with you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all for being here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. So I told y'all it was a brother that passed away, his birthday, the last time I was live, which was Saturday, when we did the, when we spoke with JC from Ron the Strong, which was a great conversation. Thank you to him for coming out. Also in the chat said that's YouTube fucking with me. Absolutely. Mike Jones said Chapo is losing his shit right now. That brother can't even get a shower. That's crazy. See, like, even he should get a shower. You know what I mean? There's a couple of other people I would put. Well, you know what? He probably falls in that category. Forget his shower. If y'all know what I'm thinking. Vernon Heim said them numbers will go up. Yeah, that would break the internet. Jonathan Pantoja checking in the chat. Shout out Shy Ill in the chat. I'm so late and have no idea what we're talking about. You ain't missed nothing. We just been kicking the bobos, shooting the shit, and talking. We went through the housekeeping. We spoke about if the twins would ever come on the channel without covering their face. I said no. I don't expect that. Wouldn't expect that. Couple of things you could catch up with. And right now we're about to get into the first topic of the day. Shout out Chucky Chingong on the check-in. He's in the house. Bam, 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 bam. But yeah, so Saturday, boom, we hung out with JC, and then afterwards got to drinking. Totally, I told y'all I was going to watch a sneaker battle. I went to watch a sneaker battle online. Have a couple of beers. And then as we're sitting there, I noticed something. I noticed there was a big brawl. As I'm scrolling through my phone, there was a big brawl at the UFC. At UFC Mexico. I had forgot that there was a UFC card that night. Now, I've been watching the UFC since UFC 1. I rarely miss a show, but again, it's been a busy 2 weeks. I was dying to just do anything other than deal with this channel that day. You know, when I was done with the interview with JC, it was like, yo, I'm trying to chill out. I'm going to watch this sneaker battle. I'm going to shoot the shit with Oso. We're going to drink. Boom, done deal. And then I noticed there's a fight. As I'm scrolling, I noticed there's a fight at the UFC in the audience. It's UFC Mexico. I'm like, damn, how did I miss a UFC? Whatever. All right? Cool. And then something else popped up, and I said, UFC Mexico. I started putting things together. And I thought to myself, I wonder, now, we might be blaming the boogeyman for everything. Because again, we haven't talked about other things. I still want to talk about Chuy Montana, rest in peace. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. But I wonder if we blamed them for everything and blamed the boogeyman. But I thought to myself, these two things that just happened at the UFC, they quite possibly can be done by the cartel, right? But that was just a thought in my head. Shout out Vernon Himes in the chat. He says, start covering the UFC. I'd love to. That's what I want to. Listen, I come from a life of aggression and violence and all of this. I wasn't in the running for a cartel channel. You know what I'm saying? I came to react to things and get y'all to want to react with me to anything, not just cartel stuff. You know what I'm saying? So at one point on this channel, I tried doing movie reviews, or not movie reviews, movie reactions. I covered a little bit of fight stuff, I believe. I covered things like Cain, when Cain got out of prison, Cain Velasquez. And I covered true crime stuff and stuff like that. But the things that caught traction was the cartel content, So there's still room. This channel grows. My thought was I have other channels lined up, but I don't want to start another channel until we've reached at least 10,000 subs. And we're getting there. We're just not there yet, And I don't want to start another channel until that. But I'd love to cover the UFC. I'd love to cover MMA. Like that's where my head is at. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with heavy things that have heavy you get the point. There's just enough darkness. Sometimes I'm trying to just hang out and watch a fight. You know what I'm saying? So, I appreciate MMA, and I'd love to do that. So maybe in the future we'll do that. Chucky Chigon said, Kane out of Yuma, Arizona, cool dude. To me, greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Like D Rose, I feel like his injuries kept us from seeing his true potential. And even what we did get to see was extraordinary. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he went and did what every man says he'll do. He went and did it. If y'all don't know the Cain Velasquez story, I got a Cain Velasquez video on the channel somewhere. Find it, check it out. We'll talk about it. But he did what every man says he would do. And he went after it. Me and the homie Zaya, a long time ago, when it happened, we got into this conversation. His mentality was, what good does that do? Now you're putting yourself in jail and woo, and it's like, it's just some things worth going all the way out for. And that's just my belief. Me and him agreed to disagree, but that's just my belief. It's just some things got to be handled yourself. Shout out Mike Jones in the chat. He said, brother, cartel is in all 50 states. They ain't playing, and that's a fact. I think the Twins playing with fire just to get that paper. I don't know. I mean, I guess their mentality is like they said. They've always been under the gun. Kind of feel the same way too. Like, who could threaten me? I don't, what? Threats? Whatever. This age? These grades? Whatever. Mazizo said, R.I.P. my boy Chuy Montana, word on the street. Fuerza Regida sent Hitman to get him for his 1,000 songs. Chuy Montana had pre-recorded. Now Fuerza Regida coming out with his songs like they're for. Listen, I don't believe that. And we're going to get into that story. I understand rumors, and I understand the streets, and I understand how they talk, and I understand how things go out through the least path of resistance, like water. Lies move like water. They just get into the crevices, and they get through, and that theory was out hours after the boy was gone. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because it's an easy story for people to tell. In that time, I heard 100. We blamed the boogeyman for that one, too. So we're gonna talk about that. Maybe we'll do that tonight. Again, I gotta be a Theo for a little while, and I'm gonna be back. But I don't buy that. I don't buy that Fuerza Regida with the songs and all of that. And you gotta understand how the music business works for that to work. You know what I mean? There ain't nobody putting out no. You gotta prove to me receipts. You gotta prove to me Fuerza Regida put out a song recently that it was penned by Chewy and they did it without his permission. You got to prove that to me. Especially knowing what I know. You know what I'm saying? Scante Warrior. Orale. Salutes to you, Scante Warrior. Appreciate you for being here. Chucky Chigon said, my son wrestled at a camp he taught at ASU. Solid dude, handled his biz. He's speaking to Cain Velasquez. Yeah, man. Cain Velasquez, as far as I'm concerned, that's the man. You wanna go to war, that's the dude you want next to you. You know what I'm saying? You put him in the gladiator days, he wins. Salutes April Campbell in the chat. Hey y'all, Shy family, salute to you. Appreciate you being here. Perfecto J in the building. Yo, salutes. Jonathan Pantoja said, had a freaky video while I was wide awake during the night at the hospital. And even though I couldn't sleep, watching it in the dark had me ask the nurse turn the light on until sunrise. Damn, dog. You in the hospital right now? Salutes to you. Feel better, bro. What freaky video you had on, though? What you on, bro? What you was doing over there, man? You fell asleep with the freaky video on the screen? Let's see. Mike Jones said, nah, I feel you on that. Absolutely. April Campbell, let's make sure we reshare to all of our social medias. We got to get this channel popping to the masses who don't know of it because it's the best on YouTube. Facts, no fiction. Facts over feelings. On my mama. Salutes to you, April Campbell. Everybody follow April's lead. Let's pin that up to the top right there. Hold on, man. We got to give that a little pin ski right here. Let's see. Page pin message. All right. Tyler S. Salutes to you. What are Chapo's chances of escaping ADX? Man. 0.0000000000000000001 maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. I mean, whenever you heard that happen, you know, usually it's a couple of bums that were just crazy enough to break out of any prison, let alone ADX. You know what I mean? So I don't see that happening. That'd be a mighty long, deep tunnel. Mike Jones said, man, it's nice than the MF outside. It's beautiful outside, bro. Are you in Chicago, Mike Jones? It's beautiful in Chicago. It was when I went outside. Vernon Hines said, promote. Appreciate that. Let your people know we hear what we talking about. April Campbell said, damn, moderators, y'all put the cash app tag in the chats too, so our mans and them can afford the marketing and PR. Absolutely. Damn, did you just call out the wrenches? No, the wrenches don't got jobs yet, though. I haven't sent out no jobs. But I will start putting the cash app and stuff in the links that I got here. So, yeah, you guys can promote that. Shout out Piotr. Piotr, am I pronouncing it right? I like saying Piotr when I see your name, dog. Reminds me of Fyodor Emelianenko. Piotr said when the Twins coming back on. Who knows, bro? You know, you got to understand something, too. They've been extremely generous with their time. But these are guys who, you know, whose wives are in prison and they are all parts of the family structure right now. You know what I'm saying? They got to keep everything together, so they're busy guys with their own businesses and their own business. But they will be on. I mean, don't be greedy. They've been popping up every weekend for sure. Peter, all right, I'm gonna call you Peter, bro. All right, that shit is spelled Piotr or something like that, man. Yael, salute to you, Yael. What's up, Shy? Salutes. Appreciate you being here. April said, no, I wasn't trying to call him out. The damn was for the 000. Moderators are great. Thank you. I was just kidding. I was just talking shit anyway. I appreciate you, April. But yeah, so Peter said, yeah, that's messed up. Shout out to them. But yeah, they've been extremely generous with their time. Let's not get greedy. We're still going to have these regular streams where it's just me, y'all, and somebody else's content that we could tear apart and see what we find. You know what I mean? Shout out Albanian Peter. 773707 Chico said, yo, why does Peter never jump on? Only Jay when you're interviewing JC, etc. I mean, it's just sometimes one's busy, the other one's not, or they're not even watching, or they don't even know I'm live sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But nothing crazy. He'll be on. Peter will be on for sure. Chucky G Gon said, Twin was sweating JC, I feel. They got some tension. I mean, yeah, they're probably tension with all of them, you know what I'm saying? Again, that's why it'd be my place to just sit there and let them talk, you know what I'm saying? And say what they got to say to each other. And, you know, my thing is the platform's here. Use it to say something. If you ain't got nothing to say, then I don't know what to tell you. Shout out E Martini. Question, my G, will you ever do MUAIC again? What is MUAIC? Oh, do music again. And I've been watching, my J. I appreciate you, E. Martini. When I ever do music again, I've been asked recently, and doing this podcast has opened up new doors to old music. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's what I love. It's what I've always loved. I don't see myself ever saying, "Oh, I'm never gonna do it again." Like, I did this film called Lupe, and decided to do 7 or 8 songs and do it from the perspective of the character I was playing, and most likely there'll be more music coming from me. I was talking to my homegirl Liv. They got a podcast called At Least Super. Her and her homegirl Meg, and I was on their podcast. I'll cut the clip and I'll put it up here. I was on their podcast. I was thinking of doing another album. She's like, don't nobody want you doing no albums at 50. It's like, first of all, I'm not 50. And secondly, you're not going to complain if Jay-Z do it. So leave me alone. Hip hop has no age. There's nothing that can stop me from doing this. If I could rhyme while I'm in that box while y'all saying goodbye to me, I'll be rhyming there. So it's pretty safe to say that I may make music again soon. We'll see. Peter said Jay's more talkative. Yeah, you can see it that way. I think Peter's maybe more careful. I mean, they're different characters. They're twins, bro, but they're totally different characters, They can read each other and they get each other, but they're totally different dudes. Jonathan Pantoja in the chat said, this was when I first found your channel during season 1 of the Flores twins. I noticed there was playlists, and I caught you reacting to a Florida interrogation where there were knives involved. Ah, I see. Okay, now I got you. Yeah, man. Check out that playlist, y'all. I got a true crime playlist, like 80 videos. They're not even a year old, and nobody goes and checks them out. The more y'all do, the more YouTube will push them. So there they go. They're in the chat. E. Martini said, oh no, hold on. I skipped something. Johnny Pantoja said, hometown hits hard being from here. That was a special record. I remember I just kept telling Ace, I got something in the tuck for us. Like, we had been working on other songs, but that beat, I had held that beat. I didn't want to do that beat with nobody else. It was, what's her face sample? Y'all remind me her name in the chat. It's called Hometown. I'll link y'all in the chat. But I did that with Ace. I told him I got a record that I'm holding on for you, and we're going to do a video for it. I was like, I'm going to wait for you. And when he finally was ready to do it, we did it. I told him we're going to do the video. That day we were doing the video. He was like, bro, everything you've ever said you was going to do, you did it. Here we are shooting a video for this record. And it became a very important record in the city. So salutes to him, much love to him, and salutes to you, Jonathan Pantoja. E. Martini said the game needs you. Straight up, man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. I need the game too. I appreciate it. Chucky said the last video was fire, Shy. You got some gems. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Mike Jones, one of the twin stash houses was on my block when the G came out. That joint, it was 4.7 million. 4.7. Damn. Stash houses was on my block. 4.7 million. Stashly in there, sitting on 4.7 million with her arms crossed. That's her new name. I changed her name to Stashly. I like Stashly better. Mike Jones said, Vernon Himes said, remember, if you need a live drummer, I'm your man. Absolutely, Vernon Himes. I got, man, you with the live drums. I got a whole bunch of people that have a different ingredient for what I do. You know what I'm saying? Peter said, have you met them personally ever? No, sir. 323G, late but here, never late, always on time. Appreciate you being here. Usual suspects. Thank you, sir. 773-707 said you should ask the twins next time if they ever met La Reina del Sur. If you get a chance. I will document this question and make sure it's asked. Thank you, sir. Or put on the list at least. Also in the Discord, I created a channel for you guys to ask questions. You put the questions in there. They won't get answered in there. They will be translated to, I'll take them and I'll disseminate them as we do live streams with the twins in the future. So it might be your question that pops up. Otherwise, if you guys want to butt in and throw your question while they're here, you guys can do that with the text-to-speech link that's in the description. Mike Jones said that was an Oak Lawn, and when I used to see them boys come out, I knew they was on it. Yeah, I'm sure it was hard to hide. They've said so themselves. But yeah, so again, we're gonna cover the Chuy Montana. We're gonna cover all that. Again, the first thing I heard about that was they blamed it on the cartel. We actually have a video that we were live, and I don't remember who it was. One of you guys came in here and said the CJNJ just hit one of them, a singer in Mexico. And then somebody said, I hope it might have been, I don't know who it was. They said, I hope it wasn't one of them Fuerza Regida dudes. And it was. Now, did we blame the boogeyman there too? Am I blaming the boogeyman with this UFC thing? I'm just putting the idea out there. Maybe we'll take a poll. I'll put up a poll after we check this out. So that's what we on right now. So, again, UFC happens, and now, I wasn't the only one that made this connection. Somebody else made this connection. We're going to watch his video. His name is Jesse on Fire. If you guys are MMA fans, I'm sure you guys have seen some of his videos. We're going to go over there and check that out. I'm going to make sure to link this in the description when I'm done. And, again, the videos of the fight that happened in the audience are in the Discord. The Discord is in the chat. Let me pin it up. Here we go. Discord in the chat. I'm going to pin this to the top now. So y'all go to that Discord. In the chat, there is, in the Discord chat, there is the video of the fight. Mike Jones said they used to leave the grass a foot high. I was like, boy, did it know how to cut the grass. Shit. Yo, like, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. That's like, you got your trunk full of something and you driving at night with your lights off. You know what I'm saying? Cut the grass, bro. Cut the grass. Chucky Chico said, I'll do your scratches and cuts OG style. Real DJ shit. Absolutely. Appreciated. Jonathan Panto. That'd be a great content right there. To create a project just sending files around to friends and supporters and making some music out of it. That's not a bad idea for a series. Jonathan Pantoja said, I believe they said she was in during while they were coming up. If I may ask, what's the difference between Super Chat and TTS? Super Chat is Super Chat pops up in this YouTube chat, and it just stays at the top longer. You know what I'm saying? So that too. You'll be able to butt the line on questions with that too. But that doesn't say it out loud on the screen. The text-to-speech says your comment out loud on the screen. It pops up. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. But either one will get you bumped in the line for questioning. You know what I'm saying? Super Chat, more money stays with the channel. TTS, more money stays with the channel. Super Chats, YouTube takes 30%. And they didn't do nothing but process the money. But again, either way is appreciated here. People supporting the channel on that level means a lot to me. So I appreciate y'all for doing it. Again, in the Discord, you can find the videos of the brawl. So they had a brawl. And again, Jesse on Fire notices that something is awry. Something doesn't feel right about everything that happened that day. Now, he had a piece of the puzzle that I didn't have, and I have a piece of the puzzle that he probably didn't look at and make the connection. But I'm going to make the connection. Here's Dana White, on Jesse on Fire reacting to Dana White talking about this fight. Now, when Dana White came to this press conference after UFC Mexico, first thing he said was, hurry up, got to be quick, I got a flight to catch. Okay, that happens. It's a fast business world. Who wants to stay out of country longer than they need to, right? I've never seen him that in a hurry to get out of somewhere, or even kind of like say that type of shit to people. Like, I gotta go. You know, he usually gives his time. I'm doing TTS from now on. Screw you too. I appreciate you, Jonathan. Thank you, sir. Again, either way is appreciated. Hitting the like button alone is appreciated. So just keep that note that Dana said at the beginning of the press conference when I watched it. He said, all right, he didn't look distressed. He didn't look stressed out, but Dana is known to be able to cover things when he's under pressure. But he said, hurry up, let's get out of here. I got to catch a flight. So this is Dana talking about this brawl that happened.
Had Cartel involvement, and it was that egregious of a decision and all, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about there in a second. But first, let's go ahead and watch this clip of Dana, and we'll talk about this fight.
It happened here in Mexico City. The crazy thing about that fight, when that fight broke out, it felt like it kept going forever. So I ran over there, and I was watching it. Nobody stopped it. I mean, I was waiting for security to come in. They just let him go till it was over. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I don't think it's a bad look for the UFC. It happened, and that was the end of that. I think after everybody else saw that shit, nobody else wanted to try that again. No security. The fight just went on.
All right, so that's the first thing that sounds crazy. No security. UFC fight. Brawl breaks out in the middle of the floor. Like, it was a crazy little brawl. Like, it lasted a while.
Till the fight was over. I've never seen any shit like that in my life.
Now, I'd love to show you guys this entire fight video. Obviously, I would love to show you street fight videos all the time. But you can't show them on YouTube without getting demonetized and deranked. Like, YouTube's algorithm instantly catches street fight stuff. It's crazy. They're like, it's unbelievable how accurate it is. But anyway, like what you're looking at right here, and why we're going to talk about cartel stuff in a second is I will explain. But this guy right here who has his arm out and he has his, one of his sleeves has been ripped off. That guy's about to get starched. Now, assuming that you have not...
Bro, he got starched. Buddy got laid out. It was a whole scuffle, and he kind of stood back and put his arms down, and Buddy from the left side cracked him. Boop! And the whole crowd went crazy, right? But big old fight, and nobody gets involved. No staff gets involved. Long fight, no staff gets involved. Now, we constantly hear... So we'll have both sides of the coin, right? Sometimes people say, nobody's looking for nobody, and... the cartel's worried about other things, and then you got other people that say they have eyes everywhere, and they know everything, and they know everybody, and where everybody's at. You know what I mean? Could it be that they knew not to mess with the dudes that was in that scrap? Nobody jumped in, nothing. That fight went till that fight was over. All right? Let me see if I can get past this. There we go. That fight went till that fight was over, so...
May not turn out to be a black belt.
He's fighting some guys, and I have nothing negative to say about anybody's performance in this fight, I think all of them looked very violently capable. I wouldn't want to fight any of them because they all look like they totally know what they're doing. But one guy definitely who knew what he was doing is the guy who starched that dude's friend who has his sleeve off, and then rolled and absolutely nuclearized the guy with his sleeve ripped off. And when he did it...
This dude right here, he got knocked dead right around this point, too. This is him right here. He goes flat. And it's this guy that does it, if I recall correctly.
The entire crowd went bananas.
Shout out in the chat. Mike Jones said, YouTube be on straight BS. They have the best platform if they just let Ish ride. The reason they don't let it ride is because they feel they already got the best platform, and dollars talk, and they're pushing this towards YouTube. Is like, dude, YouTube Kids is the most dangerous place for kids. They can't even police that, right? But they're conditioning the rest of YouTube for kids, and they're shutting down the adults. So I don't understand their business plan. If you ask me, that's Liar Cohen over there making mistakes. Chucky Chigon said, Queen of the South, Sandra Avila did her time, didn't fold. Now she's out telling her story. She's Mayo's comadre, ran her shit here in AZ. I'd love to know about her. All right, I'm going to look into that, Chucky. Thank you. And just the time. That's why us building this channel allows me to have more time. The more time I can be a YouTuber and an actor, the better the show will get, and the more information we'll be able to cover. I appreciate you guys for helping me and opening me up to things that I ain't know about. You know what I'm saying? So Sandra Avila, I believe I heard her name in the chat before. It was probably you, Chucky. So I'm gonna get to her. Also, I'm gonna put a content suggestion section in the Discord as well. 773-707 say, yo, Shy, how can you audition for the Twins' new series? Do you have an idea? How can I audition? I mean, I've been told that, oh, you know, we're gonna look out for you. I told him all I need is the opportunity to audition. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You heard Peter say here. He said if they allow him a favor, the favor is to get me in there. But either way, I'm sure my agent will get me an audition. My manager will get me an audition. All I look for in life is opportunity. If I don't nail the audition, you ain't got to give me the role. You know. Mike Jones said, "Where can we find that fight?" In the Discord. Hold on one sec. Let me see. I'm gonna link y'all direct in the Discord. Let me see if I can find it here. But yeah, I'd love to be on that show. It's a Chicago show. It's a Chicago story. I'm a Chicago actor, MC. That's, you know, I'm with it. And I ain't above, I ain't above getting help. I ain't above catching a push. But again, just give me the opportunity. I always show up. That's a fact. I'm never nobody's first choice, but I always show up when number one falls apart. History. I'm going to give y'all 3 different angles of this fight. I'm going to give y'all 3 different angles. Here we go. Here's the TMZ angle. Don't leave my live to go watch fights, though. Open this in a browser or something. All right? Don't kill my live trying to go watch a fight. That's why I played, I got that fight song. That was first thing I played, because here's another angle. Open link in new tab. Let's see this. There's another angle here. Copy. Paste. Bow. Yeah, Rivy was, shout out Chucky Chigon. He said, Griselda Blanco's son said they ran Chicago. Her main hitman, Rivy, was from there too. Yeah, Rivy was from here, but I don't know what they ran. And it was probably at a different time. I mean, they ran drugs, but running Chicago is a different thing. Boom, 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 boom.
Do you think...
I'm looking for one more video that I had of it. Here we go. Here's another angle. Yeah, I can't show it. If I could show it, I would show it, but I can't show it. They'll knock me down. And today's not a day that I'm trying to get knocked down. Bow. So those are the 3 angles that I got. Yeah, Chucky Chick gonna say 80s. 80s, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I'm sure they ran through here. But to claim Chicago también, you're gonna claim New York, Miami, no, y'all claim Rivy. Alright? We gave y'all Rivy. Only a lunatic like that could come from here. Alright. So back to what we were checking out, boom.
Dude, like they literally lost it. They, like as if someone had just knocked someone out cold in the middle of the, you know, actual fight.
Yeah, when Buddy right here got knocked out, the whole crowd erupted. Like if somebody got knocked out in the cage.
It was hilarious. And I don't think the guy realized it either. Because he starts the guy and the crowd went wild and he didn't react to it at all. Like I think he thought that they were still yelling for, definitely yelling for him though, because we are talking about this related to Cartel, right? So did you hear what Dana said? Like he said that no security jumped in, right? Like have you guys ever been to a UFC event? One thing that's really weird, I should have actually started that clip a little bit earlier. But what the guy said was there was a huge fight in the crowd. Do you think that reflects poorly on the UFC? And Dana's like, reflects poorly on the UFC? And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, hey man, we have these events all the time. That kind of thing never happens. And then he says, but this one was crazy. Like it started and like no security came. It just like fought until the fight was over. And
it was like security figured they don't get paid enough to go deal with some dudes they know could serve their whole family up later. You know what I'm saying? Security was like, oh no, ni pa allá voy a mirar. I'm not even looking that way.
And you heard him, no security got involved. I've never seen that before. And I was thinking, and as soon as he said that, I was like, I wonder why. You know what I mean? Why would security not get involved in a fight like that? Now, is it possible that something about being in Mexico changed the UFC protocol for security? Because they bring their own security, Like you'll always see the guy with the beard that is, you'll always see him. He's
okay, so where was their security? Did the other security tell them, hey, UFC security, you might want to sit this one out? You know what I mean? Shout out 773-707. He said, mad respect to you, Shy. You try to answer all the questions in the chat. I hope you blow up better than Johnny Mitchell. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I try my best. I miss sometimes. The channel will eventually get so big that I won't be able to interact with the chat as detailed as I do right now. Again, that's where TTS will come into play. But I appreciate you, bro. I'm looking to blow up. I don't need to. I don't need to dance to. We're gonna do this the long, slow way. We're gonna slow cook this. You know what I mean? And that's what seems to be working for me. Other channels, they blow up overnight with less work. Over here, it take a lot of work to go a little bit of distance, but it is what it is. It's gonna be all that much more worth it in the end. Mike Jones said, bro, I remember back in the day, the whole Shy was talking about the twins. And you right, Shy, the streets was talking, and don't ever believe all what you hear. Yeah, the streets be lying like, you know what I mean? Come on, man. You're not dealing with everybody ain't brilliant, bro. Everybody ain't brilliant. So decide if you want to be one of them, the sheep that's just willing to hear anything and say, you know what? Now, consider everything. Yeah. You hear a rumor, consider it. But do your due diligence. See, that's the problem with people. People don't want to think. They want the easiest way of the path of least resistance. Right? Some people don't like listening to music that makes them think. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I want a sermon? You know what I'm saying? Well, we different. You know what I mean? Maybe that person lacks depth in that area. But some people just want to hear the first story that they hear. They're like, yep, that's my stance. Because they don't have a stance of their own. So they just take yours, and now it's theirs, and it spreads like wildfire, like rumors. Y'all heard mad rumors when you were kids about your favorite celebrity. You know what I mean? How'd those happen? One mouth to another. Telephone game. Painting Rose says, sunny in the Shy. It's a beautiful day in the Shy, man. Beautiful day. I'm not done with it either. I'm hoping to get some more sun out there. Your time will come, my boy. Don't give up. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Mike Jones said, when your security team ain't that deep, you're told to step back. And I'm sure weapons were revealed. That's why the security team was told to step back. Quite possible. Quite possible. They were like, yo, we don't have the resources to fight this mob right here. And these guys are going at it heavy. You know what I mean? So that's red flag number one. Brendan Heim said, get your fine ass co-host with her tits hanging out. Get your fine ass co-host with her tits hanging out. Watch them numbers grow. It'd be that easy, wouldn't it? You know what I'm saying? I'm not against a hot looking co-host at all. I'm not against anything. I'm open to everything. I consider everything, but I'm very thoughtful about what I do on this channel. I turn things down as quick as I accept them. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. He said, just kidding. No, it sounds like a great idea. I'd rather do that than dance, you know? I'd rather do that than dance, that's for sure. So red flag number one is big old brawl breaks out. Nobody gets involved. Could just be a freak thing that just happened. Boom. I mean, people are drinking. It's the fights. People are aggressive. Fights happen. It ain't the first fight at a UFC, right? Security didn't jump in. Cool. My thought was, when I saw the two red flags that I saw on Saturday, I saw this and I said, I wonder if they were there to just disrupt the show. Maybe somebody didn't pay the right somebody and they were just there to disrupt the show. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody didn't do the right thing and they were just there to disrupt the show, right? Or it was just a fight between a bunch of aggressive MMA fan drunks, right? Maybe I'm blaming the boogeyman. Cool. But that was the first red flag. Big old fight breaks out in the middle of UFC. No security. Cool. Now, when I saw the fight by itself, as I'm scrolling, I didn't put no... It was the second thing that I'm going to reveal to you afterwards. There was a fighter that backed out of his fight. When I saw that, that's when I said, oh, these two things seem to be together. It's like two airplanes. Like everybody thought 9/11 was an accident until they saw the second plane. That's how I felt. I thought, it was just a regular fight until I saw the other thing. Now, this guy got a third angle here, so we're going to talk about that in a second. So, boom. The fight is the first red flag. Shout out Big Chang's in the house on the check-in. What up, big homie? Keep up the good work. You're doing an outstanding job. Keep pushing that hard line. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Why would they not go break up a fight, And so I thought about that, and then I thought, well, it is the floor seats at a UFC event in Mexico City, and from what I've heard through documentaries and such, the cartel, generally speaking, is not very forgiving when it comes to things like that. Like if you grab the wrong person and they turn around and see your face, or you push someone a little bit too hard and they turn around and see your face, or whatever, any reason to get on their radar while they're in a heated exchange, So do I know that these guys are cartel? Of course not. I have absolutely no idea. But just in, just to make sure that I'm not putting myself in harm's way, I wouldn't say that any of them don't, I definitely wouldn't say that the guy without the sleeves who got starched.
Bro, buddy's scared to say anything right now. He's scared to say anything right now. He's like, I think everybody in this fight did great.
I'm not even going to make that joke, actually. I'm not even going to make that fucking joke. Because I've watched documentaries about people talking shit about cartel guys online and then they get smoked. I'm good on that, dude. Do I know they're cartel? No. But it would explain why the security did not get involved if they were, because I've never seen that either. Security just lets the people fight it all the way out at a UFC event. That's never happens. Now,
but it's Mexico. That's what we do. We scrap, right? Mexico, boxing country. You know what I mean? Dana was telling a story at this press conference about how he was driving past a big old playground and seesaw and slides and swings, and in the middle, a little boxing ring for the shorties. Like, it's a fight town, right? Nothing strange. Could quite possibly be that.
Now, the reason why I brought up what Dana said about it not happening at UFC events, that's not exactly accurate. It was accurate if he meant that kind of fight never happens at UFC, and that would be because security always jumps in. But to say that there are never fights at UFC events is just not accurate. I go to
all the time,
lots of events, man. I would say there's a fight at like 1 out of 3, something like 1 out of 3 probably, maybe 1 out of 2 if I'm like, might be 1 out of 2, but they're like fast, they don't turn into this. I've never seen a fight like that at a UFC event ever with this many people. Never. They're usually fast and they're in the crowd and then everybody looks over there and they're, oh, what's going on? By the time,
yeah, sometimes it's the fighters. Sometimes it's Nathan or Nick Diaz slapping somebody up, Masvidal or something. Mike Jones said, bro, you doing just right. You got the biggest drug traffickers we've ever seen, and they come from the shy to call in on your platform. That's real shit. I appreciate it, bro, and I appreciate them for doing it. Some people are, oh, you're talking to cooperators. I talk to whoever I want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Don't change nothing about me. And they've come to, to show love to the channel, to show love to my audience. And that's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? We've been covering this story for a year. And good things came from it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate them for it. I appreciate JC, appreciate Cash coming on. And again, we got more things lined up that's going to happen from all kind of different stories and different parts of the story. So I'm looking forward to it, bro. We're here. I got y'all. We hanging out. So Buddy don't even want to joke. Red flag is the fight.
Time you could pull your phone out, it's already over, and security's vividly because I was there with my
Okay.
on the way in. Everything was cool. To our section,
fight. He's telling a fight story.
I went, yeah. But yeah, there's fights all the time. But again, security always, 100% of the time, goes in and breaks them up very quickly. So my theory is that maybe they were concerned about grabbing the wrong person. Okay.
All right, so think about that. That's something that can be a subplot in the next Netflix Narcos show, right? All right, you ready for the scene? The scene is security kid, 19 years old, happy, got himself a job. The UFC opened up doors for jobs in Mexico City for this arena for this certain amount of time. He's happy, you know. He's there to put his best foot forward. I mean, impress his new boss. Big old organized crime fight break out in the audience. Shorty go in there, grab the wrong dude that owns a golden desert eagle, grabs him by the shoulder. Dude turns around, sees him, knocks him down, whatever. Next thing you know, buddy's fighting for his life and his family's life and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a plausible thing. It's a story that's been told, right? So, you know, quite possible. Or security was like, we don't have the resources to stop this big of a fight, so let it die down. They'll get tired eventually. Quite possible. You know?
That's it. Now, and again, floor seats in Mexico City. Those are pricey.
Mike Jones said, I bet Dana ain't having another event there again. I mean, they've done Mexico City before, you know. Have they been paying the right price? Has the relationship soured? Has hierarchies and bosses changed in the time that the UFC's been there, since the first time they were there to now? It makes me want to look back at older UFC events from Mexico and see if I could find any correlations or strange things that I saw then. Again, I could be just putting a web together and creating a bunch of fantasy, but I'm just posing the question. Evidently, he felt that way too. Jesse on Fire felt that way too. Oso said, damn, need me a golden desert eagle. Golden desert eagle, bro. You know what I'm saying? A golden yardbird. One of those guys in that fight right there owns a golden yardbird. That's a fact. All right? So, again, Jesse on Fire felt it because of two different things, and I felt it because of two other things.
Pricey. Speaking of pricey seats, dude, we're going to UFC 300, dog. We are production. Say what's up if you guys are at 300. I think right during that fight we were down at the pool, and so I was watching with the sound off because I didn't want to bother everybody at the pool.
This is his second red flag.
Fight. I saw the.
So his second red flag is what he says, I believe, was a minus 2,200 favorite that lost the decision. Again, the UFC is MMA in general is synonymous with bad judging. Or was the fixing? Was there pressure on somebody?
Entire thing. When they called Felipe as the winner, I literally rewound it like a minute and a half and then turned up the sound because I'm like, did they read the name wrong? That's impossible that they gave that fight to him. So
his argument is that this guy won. No, that this guy won and this guy should have won. Right? And that it, by a tremendous margin. Now, I haven't seen the fight to judge the fight. All right? But he's saying that the line at that point of the fight, the money line in Vegas, was minus 2,200, meaning you'd have to put up $2,200 if you bet on that guy just to win 100. That's how much of a favorite he was at the end of that fight. And they gave the decision to the other guy. UFC judges, MMA judges, this has been happening for 20, 30 years already. The worst. They're the worst. That's egregious. Like the homie Kalama would say. That's egregious. Have we seen bad decisions like that? Yes. It's only a red flag because of where it's happening. And again, that fight. Those two things coming together is what got Jesse on Fire feeling like there's some kind of cartel presence. For me, it was the fight and the fighter backing out of his fight. But it's not just that he backed out of his fight, it's how he backed out of his fight. But we'll get to that.
What I found out when I rewound it was that the live odds makers, actually, you know what? Before I even tell you what the numbers were, so the live odds are constantly being updated by the sports books. Okay, so you can basically, there are lots of sports books where you can bet on who's going to win midway through the fight, and the odds change as the fight develops, right? So if you know how to read odds, actually, again, a really quick remedial course. So if someone is plus, like if it says plus and a number, that means they're the underdog. And what that means, so like let's say it's someone's plus 175. Okay, what that means is if you bet $100 on that person, you will win 170. Means that you will win $125 for every 100. Minus 200 favorite, you need to bet $200 in order to win $100. Okay, that's how the odds work. And so at the end of the fight, Victor was a minus 2,100 favorite. Okay,
that's
so
crazy.
You hear what I'm saying?
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's 21 to 1.
If you, now that you understand the odds, as me assuming you didn't already, minus 2,100 means you would have had to bet $2,100 on Victor to win in order to win 100 in the event that he was announced the winner. So that is, I mean, that's there's no question who won that fight betting line, period. Like that's like, yeah, there's no question. It's a 21 to 1 favorite. Okay. And so they announced the other guy. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a decision that egregious where
and I haven't seen the fight. You know what I'm saying? At a 21 to 1, he must have been dog walking Buddy through the whole fight. Unanimous decision, 3-round victory, what it should have been.
Live odds were that bad. So immediately I am like, there's no way you could even misinterpret that fight as far as I'm concerned. Now, I will say, before I get into the part where I float the idea that this was corruption, that I saw some on Mixed Martial MMA Academic, great documentary channel. He's the one that does the MMA UFC MMA icebergs. He actually put me on the last one. It's like Jesse on Fire reality TV star. About it after, but nonetheless. So on his channel, he said something about judging where he explained, the way he explained it had to do with what this judge had said about how they're able to judge what they're looking at. I thought, what I heard on that video.
Judges should be responsible for their decisions and have to answer for how they came to that number, to their suggestion of who won. How did you get there? Because if they're just sitting there and they're just catching a check and they're just checking off check marks, like you're killing the sport, and you're on the take.
If accurate, does explain a lot of the bad judging. It doesn't sound accurate.
Okay, I don't want to hear this. I want to hear
a guy who
Cartel connection.
So my thought immediately was, where are they again? It's like, oh, they're in Mexico.
Here we go.
If it's not, then that does explain things. Nonetheless, that would not have made a difference in this fight. It was no question who won. So my thought immediately was, where are they again? It's like, oh, they're in Mexico. It's like, oh, weird. Because I do remember a few incidents having to do with corruption related to betting on soccer. Is it a stretch of the imagination to think that maybe someone with some serious juice made a big boy bet on that fight and then took precautions to make sure that bet went the direction that they wanted? So Chris, if you guys don't know who this is Chris Brennan. He's a very successful MMA coach. He was a UFC title contender. You think he fought for the title once or twice, and his son is undefeated in Bellator. He's a fucking badass. I ask him questions all the time. He's been a jiu-jitsu black belt for like 100. Let me see. He's been that is so loud. If there's a fight where you might think that maybe the fix is in, this seems like a pretty strong, option, just given where it is and how egregious that was. And he's like, you would think that they would, you would think that if it was a fix, it would go in the direction of the local fighter, because it went against the Mexican fighter, which is certainly, fair. Like that's fair. And like in the Colombia soccer betting thing where they killed that guy who got the own goal against the USA, it was because
it went against the Mexican fighter. So let me think about that. Who would the cartel target if they wanted somebody to take a dive? They'd probably target the Mexican fighter, right? Someone they could talk to, relate to, threaten, track back their people, stuff like that. Fighter doesn't do it, But they got a judge over there under pressure too. Because they went against the Mexican fighter. Like, maybe he placed the bet thinking, well, I'm either going to get a judge or I'm going to get a fighter. One of them is going to do it for me. So I'm going to bet against the Mexican fighter. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Right? Mike Jones said that shit's never been fair. And that's a fact. Everyone in every fight always has a different count. Never understood that. Yeah, like they have to explain how they came to these decisions. But again, so he said the Mexican fighter. So I'm gonna say, I'm just throwing my theories out there. All right, I got my aluminum foil hat on, and we've learned over years that everybody laugh at you about conspiracies, and then you find out 20 years later that they have been cloud seeding and changing the weather with chemtrails. This is something that they've admitted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, bud was illegal. So just put yourself in that mentality. I got my aluminum foil hat on. The Mexican fighter was a minus 2100, and he took a loss on the decision. All right.
They all bet on Colombia, but in this case, if it was some kind of setup or corruption or whatever, my hypothesis would be that someone knew something about the Mexican fighter, whether they were nursing an injury or any other thing.
Right.
And so
whether they were nursing an injury or whether they were told, Papa, throw this fight, and he didn't throw the fight and they had insurance. It's quite possible. I'm just saying, if I was writing the movie, that would be the scene that I'm writing in the movie. You know what I mean? I don't have time to to find and poke holes in it right at this moment because we just freestyling here. But again, eventually I'd go through that and figure that out. But I'm just saying right now, there's a movie cool. We got this dude. He's a minus 22 favorite. But evidently he's beating the shit out of dude. He's not gonna take this dive. We got insurance. All right, let's start a big ridiculousness, a big old fight in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So Mike Jones said they sitting ringside. I got the best seat in the house. So how ain't they having the same count? Yeah, like because they're not MMA. They're not MMA professionals. They're just people that have a government job, a state job, state government job. These guys. These guys they don't love mixed martial arts. They don't know what they're looking at sometimes. You could be how if you're laying down, you put somebody in the guillotine choke and they can hit you with that Von Flue choke. They don't know that they're seeing that. They're thinking that the guy on bottom is winning. Little do they know that he's asleep already. They don't know what they're seeing. A guy on his back with a triangle up and making attempts and almost finishing the person. They don't know their own criteria. They should, not all of them, but some of them. Now there's more fighters and shit that's trying to get involved and do it. Frank Trigg trying to be a referee and stuff like that. But the fight games always had corruption. Now, if you try to convince me, and this happens every time there's a big fight, right after the fight, whoever lost, their people are like, oh, it was a fixed fight. Stop it. Fixed fights don't just happen like that all the time. Promotions are not going to put their promotion at risk for one payday when they got 20 years of paydays to collect. They're not going to do that. All right? So use your brain. The next time your fighter loses, he just lost. There was no fixing or nothing. Now, occasionally when there's some funny stuff going on, maybe here nothing happened. Maybe this was just bad judging or there was something funny going on. Quite possible. Who knows? So those are his two red flags, right? So then there was what I thought was my second red flag, which he didn't mention, but to me just seemed strange instantaneously, right? I was scrolling. We was drinking, we're watching the sneaker battle. I even forget the UFC's on, and by that point I was already feeling good. I didn't want to change nothing. Like shit was rolling. And I see that Raul Rosa Jr. pulls out of his fight, and I was like, wait a minute, but the card's already happening. They're already fighting. They're in Mexico City. And I thought about the brawl in the audience. At the time, I didn't know that my boy Brandon Moreno was fighting. I love Brandon Moreno. I think he's a great fighter. I didn't know he was the main event. I thought this was just some small fight night or something. My mind was off. It was a busy week. So I saw Raul Rosa Jr. pulls out of his fight, and I'm like, wait a minute, but shouldn't he be fighting like right now? And it turns out he got his hands wrapped. He was backstage. He was warming up. And then he decided not to fight. And in the, 30 years that I've been watching MMA, I don't remember somebody getting to that point to where they're ready to walk to the tunnel and then the fight's off. You usually, by the time you get into the tunnel, there's no injury, there's no, nothing's happening. The fight's going to happen. So this is the first time I see that. And I saw it on my Instagram and said Raul Rosa Jr. pulls out of his fight. And I thought to myself, that sounds funny. If you add that to the fight in the audience, that sounds funny to me. Sounds funny to me that this kid, the youngest fighter in the UFC, he's like 19 years old. He's a young phenom. He's Mexican. He's prideful. They're in Mexico City. He's one of the stars of the show on a main card bout. He's, 19 years old. He's on a main card bout. 19? Maybe 17? I don't know. Let me see. I got an article right here. I'm going to read. Here we go. Raul Rosa Jr. explains UFC Fight Night 237 withdrawal. It was a fight night. I hated making that decision. Though he ultimately decided not to fight Saturday at UFC Fight Night 237, Raul Rosa Jr. said the choice was not an easy one. Rosa Jr. withdrew from his main card bout versus Ricky Tercios minutes before the scheduled walkout Saturday in Mexico City, citing illness. Salutes Eduardo Jimenez in the chat. I appreciate you. He says, always a pleasure to see you live. Appreciate you, Eduardo. Ian in the building, one of the usual suspects. Salute, bro. Hundreds up. Chucky Chico said Brandon Moreno is the man. He trained in Tucson. Love that guy, bro. Great fighter. Great dude. Mike Jones said the government always going to cheat. Yeah, the government always going to cheat. On Monday, Rosa Jr. shed light on his decision to withdraw and the symptoms he experienced. He said, sorry to everyone who was waiting for my performance. I was sick all day with dizziness, lightheaded, and cough. I tried my best to recover to go out and perform still and couldn't. Got wrapped, warmed up, did everything I could to shake it off, but felt like shit. If you know me, you know I wouldn't pull out just cause. I hated making that decision, but I had to do it. If you want to make another story in your head, that's cool. I'll be back soon, though. God bless y'all. If you want to make another story in your head, that's cool. Cool. I got another story in my head. Somebody put some pressure on you to do something you didn't want to do. It's just a thought. I'm just writing a movie here. You know what I mean? I'm just writing a movie here. But this was my red flag. This was my second red flag. I don't recall hearing of a fighter getting to the tunnel and deciding, or about to get to the tunnel and decide, no, I'm not going to fight. Did the boogeyman have something to do with this? Was those three things some kind of trifecta that went down by the, I'm going to start referring to it as OC. All right, so keep that lingo in your mind. I'm going to start referring to the word cartel as OC, organized crime. Just trying to beat the algorithm over here. Mike Jones said that's why they never should be a judge. Yeah, a lot of these people shouldn't be judges. I think you're a little bit behind in the playback. I don't know. But so this was strange to me, you know, that he made it all the way, gloved up, warmed up, and nothing. Didn't walk out there. The kid's a go-getter. He's game. He's been game in every fight that he's fought. That was my instant reaction when I saw the picture of him and they said, I wonder now if those two things are related. I wonder if somebody's making a fuss, and and trying to make the UFC, interrupt the scheduling the regularly scheduled program. Because and then when I saw Jesse on fire, I saw the third red flag, which was the bad decision. Big, huge decision like that. So I'm gonna put up a poll in the chat, and y'all tell me, am I making connections that don't exist? It's good for a movie. It looks good on paper, but not really. Hold on one sec. Not really plausible. Or did the OC have something to do with all of these things that happen at the UFC? This is my question for y'all. I'm about to put it in the chat in a poll. Let's see. Start a poll. Did the cartel have anything? Wait, how do I word this? Let me think of it. I gotta think about this. And somebody think of the wild card. We're gonna throw a wild card up there for the vote too. Let's see. Mike Jones said he definitely had an injury, or you're right. Someone told him to pull that. Something's wrong. So he said if you want to make another story in your head, that's cool. Now, he could be saying that like, I know y'all are gonna think that something else happened, or I'm chicken, or I'm scared, right? Or he could be saying, hey, bro, read between the lines. I'm blinking twice. I need to be rescued. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make another story in your head, that's cool. Do that. Blink, blink, wink, wink, bro. It says it's unclear when Rosa will fight again. UFC CEO Dana White announced this past Saturday that Rosa versus Tercios was rescheduled for UFC Fight Night 238 this coming Saturday in Las Vegas. However, Tercio disputed that shortly thereafter. Rosa, 19, signed with the UFC at 17 years of age. That's not a kid. That's not a kid afraid of the lights. He's already been there with the lights. You know what I'm saying? That's not a kid that's just going to not come out to a fight. You know what I mean? So it felt strange to me. So again, we're gonna post it up. Salutes Watt Fernandez for subscribing. Appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. So let's get this poll popping over here. Were the three strange things that, okay, no, we're going to be specific. Were the fight, the crowd fight, the bad judging, the bad scorecard, and the fighter pulling out. Pause. I just say pause for fun because I don't even play that fucking game, but that's funny. It's funny. Where the crowd fight, the bad scorecard, and the fighter pulling out the ... First answer would be the cartel, or just coincidence. Am I even spelling that right? No. Boom. Let me see. Do we have a wild card out there? Salute Smokey Fuma in the chat. Smokey, we trying to see if the cartel was trying to ruin the UFC's fight night Saturday or not. So we putting up a poll. We got a wild card. Let me see. Where the crowd fight, the bad scorecard, and the fighters pulling out, cartel or just coincidence? Salute Smokey Fuma. Or is Shy tripping? Here we go. Start the poll. All right, y'all. The poll's up. Will the crowd fight the Bass go-kart and the fighter pulling out Cartel? Just coincidence or Shy's tripping? There you have it. I wonder if we blame the boogeyman. Might have blamed the boogeyman. Who knows? I just thought it was strange. And I thought it was even more strange when I saw what Jesse on Fire was talking about. You know, my thing was the fighter pulled out and there was a big old fight. His thing was there was a big old fight and there was bad judging. Now that I got the bad judging in my equation, to me that's 3-zip right there. You know what I mean? That's 3-zip right there. So I'm going to leave that up there for a little while. Let me see how much time I got. I got a little bit of time. Let me keep it moving around here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all for being here. We hanging out. We in no rush. Everything is in fine working order from what I could tell. And the votes are coming in. Make sure you get your votes in. Is it strange? Is it strange? Those things were strange to me. I couldn't, it just with just two of those factors, I was already skeptical about what was going on. So, felt weird. Brennan Heim said he might have drank the water and got the. Yeah, quite possible too. Quite possible too. Many a fighter has had a shit attack on the way to the ring for sure. It's known to happen. But damn, they get to the ring or they take their time. They make you wait. Some people be like, "Oh, this fighter's playing mind games. He's making dude wait." And really, he's having a shit attack and he's in the bathroom. Happens. All right, but did he drink the water? See, that should have been the wild card right there. Did he drink the water and get the shits, or did somebody put pressure on him and say, "Hey, bro, you're gonna lose this fight. You're gonna lose this fight." It's funny. Let's see how many votes we got so far. I'm going to leave this here. We're going to keep it moving. So now that we got that, so those are my thoughts. Y'all feel free to check out the videos. I put them in the chat. You can scroll around in the chat. If not, go to our Discord. Those are in the text channel on Discord. You can see the 3 angles of the fight. But I just felt like OC, organized crime, have their hands in whatever's happening in Mexico with the UFC. Oh, and there's a fourth red flag for me. Dana wanted to get out of there pretty quick. Said it himself. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Like a 19-year-old get a stomach ache. Don't want a 19-year-old that been fighting men his whole life. He get a stomach ache. He don't want to go out and fight in front of his home country. Huh? In Mexico City? Something's weird about that, little buddies. Something's weird about that. So, I don't know. We'll see. Y'all tell me. We'll see at the end of the... somebody... We got a couple of votes for just coincidence. A couple of votes for it was cartel involvement. All right. We got through that. You know what blows about when I do get to the point where I cover the Chuy Montana story, I'm going to get flagged for the music for sure. I'm going to get flagged for sure. But I'm going to want to play some of the music because it's important to the story. All right. Aside from that, we got this. And I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing. We're going to give it a shot. All right. We're going to give it a shot. But we got a new interview with Jay Flores that just hit the internet a couple of days ago. It is crazy. Fuma got a fighter, young fighter, pulled out of his fight. Now, mind you, he didn't pull out the fight, early in the day after weigh-ins. He pulled out the fight right before he walked out there. To me, that sounds like Daredevil's father's origin story. Where the mob had him on the take and, he had to do what he had to do and then they got him for it. I don't know. But we had bad judging. We had a big old brawl in the crowd. We had a young fighter pull out of a fight right before he walked into the cage, and Dana wanted out of there right away afterwards. Ian Eslip said, YouTube sucks. You're absolutely correct. They blow. All right, we got a new interview here that it's called The Life on the Inside of Sinaloa Cartel. This is an interview with Jay. This was 2 weeks ago. Oh, no, this is the Crenshaw. My bad. We're not ready for that. I'm going to come back and do that one tonight. We're doing this other one right here. Where is that? Here it is. It's called I Talked to the Chicago Coquane Twins. That's what it says. We're going to cover this right now real quick while I'm here. I might speed the video up a little bit so we get through it quicker with less, space in between. We'll see. Mike Jones says smoke break. Smoke them if you got them. So it's a beautiful day in the city. Brendan Heim said did Sean O'Malley and Cheetah Vera fight that night? I don't think they did, because that to me would be a main event, and I don't think that happened. I don't know if are they holding that for UFC 300? Quite possibly. This interview here with Jay is with I don't know if this guy's name is Ioan or I don't know. It's Ioan Grillo. He's I believe a British dude. Says I talked to Margarito Flores, who along with his brother trafficked more than 60 tons of cocaine for the Sinaloa cartel. They even became cooperators and gathered evidence that was used to indict more than 50 traffickers, including El Chapo. He's now working, giving classes to law enforcement on the workings of cartels and trying to make a difference. Right? I'm going to show y'all his channel. We're going to give him a thumbs up. Again, I don't know if you guys ever seen that cop. His name is Detective Matt Thornton. He does shorts, and he'll show like a cop doing something stupid, and then he'll talk about how they need to change that and eradicate that from. I want to talk to that guy too. I could talk to him. He ain't no. He don't seem like no Jerome Finnegan. I could talk to him. We could do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's where we're at. It says I talked to the twins. Here we go. I'm gonna put this up here, and let's give him his like. Right, hit that like button. Boom. Here we go.
A boom with no video, just audio right now, because the guest, Margarito Flores, also known as Jay, short for Junior, is preferring not to show his face because he was a cooperator with the US government.
Again, someone asked earlier if I believed that the twins would come on my channel without covering their face, and it's like, nah, I don't think so. I don't. They have no reason to. If they don't do it for congressmen, I don't expect them to do it for me. And I'm not in the business of exposing nobody. Anyway,
against Sinaloa Cartel, against El Chapo.
Ian said, "Don't tell all the secrets, Jay." Right? We're gonna hold them. We're gonna hold them to these stories. Boy, we'll be like, "Damn, you gave dude this story right here." Damn. No, we're not like that. We don't give a shit. We're blessed with their time. It is what it is.
Against Arturo Beltran Leyva, against El Mayo. In fact, his evidence was using indictments against more than 50 drug traffickers. But he was also a drug trafficker himself at a major level. He confessed along with his twin brother, Pedro Flores, also known as Pete, to trafficking more than 60 tons of cocaine, as well as heroin and crystal meth. If you're an American, if you're somewhere up on the East Coast, or in fact anywhere in the United States, and had a line of cocaine between about 1998 and 2008, there's a very good chance it went through the Flores twins organization. But now he is looking for redemption. He's done some time in prison, 12 years, as well as cooperating. Came out and is looking to try and change things. Now, in this conversation, you can find Margarito around other places. A lot of you will be familiar with him from other places. Now he's been more of a media presence. This conversation is more of a candid, casual talk. I got in touch with him, and he was very generous with his time. You know, what became a short conversation turned into a long conversation, and so this is that talk. What was it like in Chicago, growing up in Chicago, and that first links into trafficking and the linking up with the biggest players in Mexico?
Oh, for the most part, since before I was born, I think that the Sinaloa cartel or whatever the cartel was at the time always had their links into, a city like Chicago. I think as migrants and Mexicans started actually migrating into Chicago, for most people that don't know, I was like born into this, right? When I was born, actually, my father was in prison. He was a drug trafficker, a big drug trafficker who worked with different organizations. And, he was a big heroin dealer who was arrested for, 11 kilos of black tar heroin at the time, received a 10-year sentence. And after a good time, he came home when I was around 7.5. And that was my introduction to the drug trade through my father. At an early age, he started teaching me and my brother, the business of drug trafficking. We ran our first load across the border before we were 8 years old.
Wow. So when you went down with him to Mexico, and you were like, what, he was driving in a car over the border, or how did he get over?
So yeah, we actually thought it was a vacation. We went to Mexico on our first trip out of Chicago. We were my father was in prison, and we had a hard life. We were very poor. My family was on government assistance at the time. So he came home, and he was a provider at heart. He was used to having money, and he felt, I guess it was like his obligation to provide money fast. So we took it was a small car, took the road to Mexico. It was a fun experience for my brother and I, for sure. Went down to Mexico, and basically at that trip he actually took us out to the mountains and basically introduced us to our first drug, which was going to be marijuana. And he took us through every step where we were a part of the cultivating of it, the harvesting, right? Picked out which plants he wanted. We had to let them sit and dry out and all that stuff, and compress the marijuana at that time.
Some kids go fishing with their dad. Some kids, go camping. Some kids don't have a dad at all. And some go and cultivate a bud field with their father at like 7 years old. And then package it and push it. And use children to manipulate border marshals and shit. It's a crazy story.
Was considered Mexican, right? Marijuana.
Appreciate y'all being here. Please hit that like button. Thank you guys for being here. For those that just walked in, we're checking out a new interview from Jay Flores, about 2 weeks old. Again, we would have covered it before, but they were here on the show. And since then, it's been nothing but interviews. And we just covered, we believe the UFC was tampered with by the cartel. So go on, check the votes and make your vote in the chat. Mike Jones said, I told you, Shy, they got loose stash. That's why they still telling. But I don't care how much you give them, they still gonna come. What, back here? Yeah, they mess with this channel. They'll be back. Mike Jones, they pops was a stand-up dude and it cost him. That's not how shit's supposed to work. Was he a stand-up dude? What do we know about him? We're going to find out more as the story's told, I'm sure. But what do we know? Was he stand-up? We know a couple of things. I know he utilized one of his kids to go ask for somebody to bait somebody out of a house that he wanted to get. Somebody that ratted on him. I know that. You know what I mean? Is that the same as being in a shootout and using his child as a shield? I don't know. But was he a stand-up dude? I don't know. He said he was a provider, but yeah, he's a provider by any means, right? But we make saints out of everybody when we're on one side of the story. I don't know. I don't know if he's a saint. Rest in peace, Pops. Yeah, rest in peace to him. Shout out Ivan, leave us in the chat. What's up, Shy from Dallas, Texas? Salute, Dallas, Texas. I appreciate you. I got to get to Texas and get some barbecue for real. I be seeing it. I know what's happening.
It was 220 pounds, I believe.
And that was lower, or where was that in Mexico?
No, at that time we actually went. We We went to the mountains in what was considered the Zacatecas, Durango, right? That area on this side of it. And my father at that time had knew many people, and I guess that's where our education started. He taught us how to take down the gas tank, and we fished out the gas. I mean the drugs, right? The gas from the gas tank, and we're witness and helped them in every part of it. And that's what was going to be the next, that's what going to be our job for the next 3 to 4 years, I think. And we took our first ride back up to the United States. When we actually got to the border, it was going to be our first time we were interrogated by federal officers. I tell everyone, my dad and my mom didn't bring our birth certificates on our first trip, and my father had 220 pounds of marijuana hidden in a gas tank with no birth certificates from my brother and I. So of course, Customs and Border Patrol sent us to a second inspection. But we were twins. Me and my brother twins. We looked alike at that time. There was not a lot of twins. We were still like a big deal that we looked so much alike. And they separated from our parents. And my father, I always recall this. It was the first time I actually remember not understanding something when he said, "Don't say nothing." I knew exactly what he meant, but he was worried that they were going to separate us, right?
And they didn't think to search for the marijuana. They didn't think to search.
No, but I remember seeing my father. It was like where they inspected the cars. It was like an office and had glass. It was all glasses, and I could see my father pacing back and forth.
What was it like? I mean, did you consider? I mean, when you're like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, doing that stuff, did you kind of think, "I'm not like a regular kid here in school. My life's a bit of a kind of crazy movie"? Or what? How did you process that as a kid, having that experience compared to everyone else in your class who's
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I kind of explained this to the committee a little bit. I didn't have your regular childhood. I'm not saying I was the only one, but at that time, growing up in the States, even growing up in a place like Little Village, it's a working class neighborhood. We were different even early on because everyone had their mom and their dad. We still have that generation of Mexicans that don't believe in divorce. People went to work every day. Our dad being in prison was still rare. So we were already kind of treated a little bit different because of that. But, I have older brothers and ignorance, right? What gang culture was like. All his friends, the whole neighborhood basically would hang out at our house when we were kids because there was no father to, say no. My mom just would be like, "Okay, this is what friends do." And that's kind of started the trend of our family being looked at a little bit different, right? To other families who come from Mexico, right? Settle down there, go to work every day. And here's his house, right? That's rare. There's no...
They had the chill house. A lot of kids and kids that have friends and a lot of kids be in the house. They had the popping house on the block till the old man came home. Said, "Get your bum asses out of here. You two come with me." Chucky Chingong said, Jay don't want to bow out gracefully. You won. Why keep poking the bear? Yeah. Yeah. Again. Well, I mean, which one's the bear though? You know what I mean? Is the cartel the bear? Is it still considered I'm trying to shut them down? As far as he's concerned, he said he's on the other side of it. He's on the other side. He's on this side of it. If you ask me, if you allowed him the opportunity to be full on law enforcement, he'd be full on law enforcement. You know what I mean? He chose his side. He chose his side. Now, do they be trying to kick his ass? His side, this side? The American government, the U.S. government? Absolutely. He said it himself. He goes and does these trainings and runs into cops that were at his house, arresting his wife and putting his kids in fear and danger. And he still runs into these guys. And he still trains them, and he don't feel no, he tries not to feel no ill will. To each his own, I guess. But yeah. What else could he do though? You could do like his brother, right? Just have a business, some kind of business, and do something, right? Instead, he's talking to congressmen. He's talking to, So I hear you. I don't think when you as ambitious as they were in the game, I don't know that stops when you get out the game. You know, I think he Frank Abagnale himself. You know, hey, let me help you. Let me help you. Like Frank Abagnale was helping them with the forgeries, and you know, let me undo what I did. Again, every person's redemption is their own. So one perspective is, yes, he's poking the bear and should have left well enough alone. I mean, they could have left well enough alone all the way, right? Like they could have just anonymously went off into the witness protection program and nobody ever hear from them. Nobody ever hear their side of the story. None of that. And then it'd be left for everybody else to tell their story. So evidently they chose otherwise. They chose to do it themselves, you know. Ian said the cartel is the bear. Mike Jones said that's what I'm saying. But money is the root of all evil. That's what makes us chase it. Absolutely. Chucky Chico said best dealer, now best cop. And I think he sees it that way too, dog. Yeah, Chucky like just disappeared. Like, listen, people want to defend themselves to the chat. People want to defend themselves to each other and all of this. But the easiest way to avoid that is just obscurity, right? But no, you gave us your story. You gave the audience your story. The people are gonna be don't tell nobody that they're in your business because you gave it out. You gave it out to incite a reaction. That is what entertainment is for. That is what art is about. A reaction, good or bad, indifferent or otherwise. It's the purpose of it, right? You telling your story to get a reaction, so don't be mad at the reaction that you get. Tell the story. Otherwise, you could have just dipped off into obscurity. Mike Jones said, and that's not the way we was taught. Right. But yeah, you know, he chose his redemption, what his redemption is going to be. He said himself. Somebody said in the chat jokingly that he's going to have one of those southbound checkpoints named after him, and he said that's the goal. That's the goal. So he made his choice. He's not sugarcoating it. You know, he's letting it be known. Chucky Chico said, yep, I feel they're getting really comfortable. That's what'll get them caught up. We'll see. You know, there's other dudes that are out there comfortable too. I'll be seeing them. You know, we'll see though. Again, like they said before, when you've always been under the gun, you do what you can with what you got, and you can't be paralyzed over it. You got to move. So I guess they move.
Father, and there's a bunch of teenagers that have a bunch of friends who are gang members.
Now, what kind of gang were they in, and what gang were they in, and you never got into the gang life yourself on that side of things?
You know what? My brothers growing up, I mean, they were what was considered probably the most violent, the most organized organization, which was the Lion Kings, and that's gonna play a big part on my brother's drug trafficking time, and but we're talking about my 7, 8 years old, so for sure I was already kind of living that part of the world where my brother was a Lion King. My brother's 15 years older than me. At that age, I still growing up. I'm basically being raised in that kind of culture, those environments. So by the time my father comes around, him being in prison in the state, actually, he comes from being around gang members. So he wasn't happy about it. He kicked my brothers out the house fast. It didn't take long. Like what's going on? Like he despised gang members, believe it or not. It's just this weird contradiction.
Yeah.
He despised them because he was in prison with them. He didn't understand their reasoning or why they would have to, like what we consider in Chicago gangbang or whatever. But for instance, him coming home and kicking my older brothers out the house kind of pushed them away to having to provide for themselves now in a real manner, which led them to drug trafficking. And here I am, that separation between my older brothers and me and my twin brother is like he's giving us an education here, and they're learning the cocaine business on the streets.
Okay, just taking a quick.
Again, we got this sped up. If it sounds funny to you, we got it sped up to 1.25 playback speed just to get through it quicker. Shout out Jonathan Pantoja. He said, I missed a whole lot and I'm lost, so I voted the cartel in the poll. Bet. Don't worry, man. We always got the playback. Mike Jones said, and thanks to social media, we can have people talk about it and get everyone's perspective because it'll help us out. Again, yeah, they never had to tell their story. They could have just drifted off into obscurity, but now they're going to tell that. Now they're telling it. They told in the podcast, told in the books. And and we're privy to, you know, the information that we get, and we follow the story. But, you know, again, to each his own, evidently, you know. Each his own, evidently. Brennerheim said it looks like when they set their mind on doing something, they go all in to the best of their ability. I mean, that's pretty much it. He's gonna be the best law enforcement trainer that he could be, in you know, in this subject. That's what he's made the decision to do. Mike Jones said, yeah, but let them do their job because they ain't never gonna stop. I don't understand the context, Mike Jones. Let me know in the chat. It's a very, very, very strange story. It's a one-of-a-kind kind of story.
Break here. Just to say, if you like this podcast, if you like my work, law enforcement, Dan Crenshaw, drugs, trying to find truth, trying to find answers, $5 a month.
Also never joined a gang. You know, taught my brother and I a lot. The gang culture,
$5 a month gets you in there.
The gang culture, being around in that environment, taught my brother and I a lot. It was going to teach us how to succeed in that environment later. But we also never joined a gang. You know, my older brother, that's something that he forbade us and made sure he didn't. By the time I was 12, 13 years old, and my dad went on the run again, left us with our older brother, he was already, you know, kingpin himself in the coke.
Listen, man, I can't honor nobody. I can't honor a grown man that think it's a good idea to tell a kid that, well, even if he's been in the gang his whole life, the grown man, if you pushing the kids in the direction of gangs, then I can't understand and comprehend your mentality, you know? We've gotten lost to the point where we don't condemn ourselves for the shit that we do. You know what I mean? You got to want better for your kids than what you had. You got to want better for your kids than what the street offers them, you know? Otherwise, they're just a blink in time. They're out of here. Chucky Chingon said, just sucks they took down people they started with, not just Chapo. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they, like they said that they reached out to some and told them. I think they looked at it like everybody makes their decision, and this is not no corporate situation. The end of this is two ways, the joint or this. So make a play for yourself. Make a play for yourself. Snitch on me, snitch on everybody, do your talking. There was some that did it. There was some that didn't. You know? Does that make it any better? I don't know. It's not my, you know, not my place. All I know is why am I paying so much attention to that aspect of it when it's a tactic? It's a tactic. You know? What do I care if one of them is doing it when they're all doing it? It just took the juice out the squeeze. Like, this is everybody's game. This is just what it is. Okay. Well then, I guess it's not that big a part of the story. But you're right. You know, they took friends down. Again, they probably feel like they gave them friends life too. Made them rich for however long that they were. I don't know. But it does suck. Stay out of the life of crime. There is no loyalty. There is no honor amongst thieves. These things do not exist. All right? The will to survive trumps all of it. Are you going to find your dudes that are not going to say nothing and they're going to hold it down for 30 years? Yes. You're going to find those dudes too. Still not a great life. You know? So choose wisely. Mike Jones says, so I hope they keep calling, but help everyone out, not just the G. And you know what? They seem to be the type to always be helping somebody out because they try to help me out. They did not have to come on this channel. They're helping me out by being on this channel. They're helping you out by giving you something to talk about, entertain you. You know? So yeah, I hear you. But, you know, and again, they said through the TV shows, through all of these projects, they want to do things for the culture. Okay. Do what you can. But let's not talk like we don't pick and choose. Because if that's the case, you got to judge every rapper that's on what's the name of Jay's label? It's not The Rock no more. But whatever it is, that girl Desiree, she's on papers. You know, we pick and choose. You'd be surprised how many of your favorite so and so's got them papers on them. So it's like, whatever. I make sure to mind my business, not be involved with you when it comes to anything. It can be anything. Jonathan Pantoja in the chat said, I just noticed something. YouTube never recommended interview with the twins until the first time they chopped it up here with us. But after the twins, Cash and JC, I get all kinds of other recommendations. For other stuff or our stuff? I wish they'd send you our stuffs. Our stuff. YouTube, start recommending us. What are you waiting for?
Cocaine business.
Now, how much school did you do?
I actually went to high school. I was actually, this is a good question. No one ever asked me that, but I was actually, for the most part, my brother and I actually did really well in school. We ended up going to a public high school right in my neighborhood, and in my junior year, I was actually kicked out of school by law enforcement. Them understanding who we were, they felt like, I wasn't part of a gang at that time. No way involved in gangs, but that was the environment we were in, and my older brother was, he was a shot caller. And them understanding that part of it, it's like they kind of you were trying to clean up the school and basically gave us an ultimatum, and we were kicked out of school. But then I actually ended up getting a diploma by an alternative of like high school, where you go, basically it's like a GED, but fast track, and got a high school diploma. My twin brother did actually attend college. He did a few semesters in college. But by then we were already, in our own world of drug trafficking. So
you became
We was millionaires by then. All right? Running around in Bentleys and shit. Let's see. Jonathan Pantoja said it's BS. I watched JC and Al Prophet years ago and never was recommended these new channels. That's the algorithm probably picking up on your preferences now and on the things you watch. I'm trying to be up in everybody's suggested video. Everybody's up next. So make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you subscribe, share, tell your friends. All of that good stuff. We're getting a lot of traffic coming from Reddit. We're getting a lot of traffic from a couple different places. Ian said, I started selling drugs when I was 15. I would never push my kids in that direction. You'd be surprised how many people do. It's a sad story. Mike Jones said, true. Ivan said, the rules and codes from the street are out of the picture when you reach that level. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico. Everyone tells. And that's something that, we always knew that cooperation was part of the game in the sense that you're not going to get too far in the game without running into it. Okay? It ain't the first time. Again, the twins themselves were cooperated on before they even cooperated. So it's part of the game in that aspect. But in Mexico, with this game, it's on a whole nother level. It's a tactic. It's a part of the game, most literally. It is like what flopping has become in basketball. Back in the day, it was, things like that were just a little thing that you'd use here and there. When it becomes a glitch, when you're using it as a crutch, now it's part of the game. Now it's different now. It's not the same thing. So there are no rules. There are no codes. There was a time where families were off limits. We know that's not true anymore. So why are we asking morality from an immoral game? Like, what are we talking about here? Chucky said, Mexico's different than the U.S. We got morals. They don't. I know a few cats who stood tall and can come back with their head high. Absolutely. Me too. And you know what? They come back with their head high and a lot of times quietly. Ain't really got too much to talk about. Mike Jones said, every one of us knows someone who told it's just a part of the lifestyle. Absolutely. Twins had King Love Amor de Rey. They claimed they was never part of the nation. They said their brothers were, but not them. Shout out Big June in the chat. Tap that like button. It's for the free. Tap the like button. It's for the free. Let's pin that. We need to pin that. Chucky Chingong says, hold on. This poll popped up. Chucky Chingong said, rules fell off. You rat, you died back in the day. You stole, you died. The old guard didn't play. Yeah, it was a different time. It was a different time. So now that it's a tactic, it's like, okay, it can't be the topic of my conversation all the time. Like, oh, yeah, we get it. We get it. But again, you're right. People that they started with, friends that came up together. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot, how many of those 50 people, if put in the position that they were in, wouldn't have made the same decision? We don't know that. We don't know. We don't know.
Big, very young in terms of numbers in trafficking. Did it just blow up? Like, did you start kind of small? It just grew and grew and grew very fast, or did you see yourselves right away like as kind of entrepreneurs in this, or how did things escalate so fast?
I guess with my background, right, with my father, being in Mexico, that's what people like. I feel like there's two sides of us. Growing up in Chicago, growing up around those gangs and that culture, and then growing up in Mexico, where my father made sure he introduced us to everyone and make sure we treated everyone with respect. And coming from a small town, which was like my second home, is it's all about respect, how you treat people, mannerisms, what your last name was, and how we carried ourselves. I think came naturally through my father, and so. By the time we're 13 going on to 17, we basically become my older brother's helpers in the business. And he, by that time, is working with the Juarez Cartel, the Sinaloa Cartel. It was still one organization. And just being around the business all day, being around his associates,
All the time. Understanding the demeanor, learning how to shake a hand, learning how to look in an eye, understanding the game. By 13 years old, being basically a professional at their trade. If it was Bud at the time, boom, they were pros at that. Know how to plan it, up it, cut it, pack it, push it. You know what I mean? Get it to where it gotta go, all of that. They knew all of that by the time they was 13, 14.
I was able to understand even the Sinaloa or the cartel slang back then,
And not only that, they were understanding the psychology of, how to fool guards, the psychology of deception, psychology of how to make things look small, not a big deal. Oh no, we're good. We're just a couple of twins in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? They was learning all of that.
When people were wearing silk shirts with the gold chains and stuff like that, and being around them, and being around both environments where my brother actually went from being the kingpin in the neighborhood to actually starting to distribute, especially to black gangs in Chicago, and I was able to actually be a part of that and everything I was learning at the time. So when my brother got indicted, I was just turning 17. It's like one of his sources of supply, which was going to be an important person later on in the Sinaloa Cartel, sent for my brother and I, and offered us a load of drugs, which was at that time our first deal was going to be our own deal, was going to be 30 kilos of cocaine, which is, at that time, for someone like I was 17. And it being our first deal, like, it didn't seem like a lot for us, but it was a lot, under the circumstances. We sold our first 30 kilos that day, received 50 kilos the next day. And basically, by the time we were 18, we were already moving anywhere from 300 to 400 kilos a month. And I guess, that started off like a run, I guess, that, just seeing the business, as a business and seeing the other side of it. I think not being part of a gang, the way we were raised, I think that helped us a lot. And having those relationships, from early on and being able to, be businessmen, I think is what kind of propelled us.
Somebody reached out to me and said, they had an opinion. They said, sometimes we'll be having a conversation and people will not want to talk about exactly what we're talking about. They bring other things into the fold. This, I didn't felt like that, because when we did the BMF, Flores twins conversation, people were like, yeah, but Meech and Southwest T didn't cooperate. And I said, yeah, but that's not what we were talking about. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't part of the conversation. You know what I mean? The conversation was who pushed the most work, who was the most influential, who was the biggest trafficker. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Chung's Kicks in the chat. Salutes to you, Wookie. Appreciate you being here, bro. Hundreds up. Salutes to everybody else in the building. All the usual suspects. We've been hanging out today. Hundreds up in the chat. Make sure y'all hit that like button. But somebody hit me up in the DMs. Shout out Chung's Kicks for the subscription. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much, sir. Somebody came to me in the chat, say, hey man, not in the chat, in the DMs, and they was like, one thing you didn't discuss is that the Twins' first deal was 30 bricks. He was like, it's different when you get it out the mud and you flip a 8-ball, and then you flip that, and then you flip that, and you double that, and you double that, and you double that until you become the man. And to me, it's something that the Twins probably can't comprehend because that's not how they started. You know what I'm saying? They started in the game, somebody gave them 30 and they went and they did 30. So to them, it's like, this is normal. This is what it is. This other person's ideology was more like, yeah, man, you get it from the mud. You flip, you flip, you flip. They got grandfathered in. They had all the connections. It was easy for them. They didn't have to work for it. This was part of the sentiment. And, but I wondered, I wonder what y'all think. Y'all could give me y'all opinion in the chat. If that puts BMF a step up, because BMF probably started with an O and moved up from there. Was it cheating? Was it them having a ringer, their old man, their big brothers, them pushing 30 bricks like that? Was it an advantage? Does it mean less? My question is this: if those same connections given to somebody else, there's only one in so many people you're gonna find that'll be able to pull it off the way they did. So that's a whole nother perspective of it. So I just wanted to put that out there. Vernon Heim said, trying to make $1 million an ounce at a time. Exactly. I think the Twins would be like, yo, you're crazy, dog. You take what you're given and you run with it. Again, somebody else given what they were given, and they probably wouldn't have handled it thoroughly. They probably would have ruined it and got themselves smoked. So it took a couple of smart guys to understand the opportunity they had and actually pull it off. But again, you let me know if the thought is, bruh, these dudes were ringers. These dudes had it all set up for them, They could have ruined it. That's for sure. They could have ruined it.
By the time I was 19, 20, we were pushing well over 1,000 kilos in a month in Chicago. And, I explained this, like, this is without me ever going to Mexico. Like, this is, the drugs are already in Chicago. I'm being basically a wholesale distributor for the Sinaloa cartel, and at that time for the Gulf cartel. Me, I have no direct ties to them. I have a middleman. And
matter of fact, shout out to Chung's Kicks, the young Wookie, because he was our 5,800th subscriber. 5,800 subscribers. Thanks to Chung's Kicks. Salutes to you, sir. 030 North in the chat said nothing's easy. I think they had it the hardest because they had to find routes. And they were involved with submarines coming back from Colombia. Not just anybody could pull that off. I agree. You give what they got to somebody that didn't understand the game the way they did by the age that they were, and they would have never reached the lengths that these guys did. I agree with that part. And I honor the dude that gets it from the mud. But I also honor the dude that is opportunistic and gets the opportunity and is prepared for it when it comes. I honor both things.
I'm 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm making $2-3 million a month.
Now, like, do you think you were kind of in the right place at the right time, or the fact you had such good connections and it was when? How did you blow up so fast?
There it is.
Or is it the nature of the drug game? What do you think, looking back on it now? What made you just become this big, this far?
Just to make it clear, you know this with your background. The drug trafficking is not easy. There's people fail.
I don't know Buddy's background, so I'm gonna have to look into that.
But every day. So I don't know if my brother and I knew what a successful drug trafficker was, other than what we would see in the news at that time, which was like the Lord of the Skies or Caro Quintero. The movie Scarface to us was also a great movie, but it never motivated us to die like him. I think it's that story, right? And I feel like what made my brother and I successful, that somehow, some way growing up, we never wanted to be like anyone else.
What did he
Us
say
to
right
die.
there?
The movie Scarface to us was also a great movie, but it never motivated us to die like him, I think. You know,
See, that right there just shows you the difference in their character than the average run-of-the-mill hustler. You know? Hustlers okay, you know, the Scarface taught, yeah, get it hard, get it fast, and go out how you go out, right? Screaming. Aggression. They were like, nah, we'll skip that part. That's in their character right there. He said it right there. That movie did not motivate them to die the way he did. It motivated them to be slick.
it's that story, right? And I feel like what made my brother and I successful, that somehow, some way growing up, we never wanted to be like anyone else. We always said, this, like, we never changed who we were. We got into business, for economics reasons, and we never let anything, change that we were there for one reason. We were obviously, I feel like, intelligent enough not to get involved in certain situations, but also I think it goes back to how we were raised. The simple principles that people take for granted: respect, doing the right thing, going out your way for others. Sometimes, like, some of these stuff that sounds like you're I'll be talking about the Bible, but in the drug trade, it was always about what type of person you were. And that is what actually I felt like took us, from where we started and where we're going to end up at,
That's the part that seems like a double-edged sword to me, and it seems weird to me. They're like, it's about who you were as a person, and then you find out that a lot of these people were monsters. You know what I'm saying? But I guess a monster with a firm handshake and eye contact, probably get you a long way.
Those simple things that people think that are not a necessity, right? I think also is our appearance. We were young. They didn't take us as a threat. I didn't want to be taken as a threat. So that made...
I didn't want to be taken as a threat. Again, I came in here at the beginning of this when I started on this channel, and my complaint was, the regular things. They cooperated. They were showing everything off, and they got to be lying about the bodies. My perspective has changed over time, listening to the story, understanding their character. Listen to what he's saying. He's saying it over and over again. They don't have that part of them in the character,
They didn't take us as a threat. I
didn't want to be known as a threat. All right? Just goes to show you that we think sometimes in a broad spectrum and say, oh, no, but that has to be this. There has to be bodies involved. You don't get that far. No, you don't usually get that far without bodies involved, but these guys did it. What can I say? That I know of. Because to me, the only thing that don't make sense, and nobody can explain it to me. If they got bodies on them, why didn't they put it in the deal? Because if a body comes back on them today, they get to get scooped up today. Right? So if you ask me, there ain't no bodies on them. Right? But everybody in the chat will say, in the comments will say so, or the trolls will say so. But you got to show me and explain to me why. What would keep them from putting that in an immunity deal? Right? Shout out Vernon Himes. He said not only did they get, let me see something. Hold on, I missed something. 030 North, no. Vernon Himes. Not only did they get 30 bricks, they got rid of them in one day. That's a big deal. Again, prepared. Another person thrown that opportunity might not have been able to pull that off. Mike Jones, we was buying cars and them boys was buying subs. That says it all. Absolutely. Eventually, yes, absolutely. 030 North said Mike Jones, 120% right, bro, and they had planes. Exactly. Mike Jones said, Shy, how much you think 50 paid them for their story? What you think? I don't know. That I don't know. Do I have a guess? I don't know. I don't know how that works and how long that lasts. Because, I give you life rights, but what am I getting off the back end? Like, deals are more intricate than we think. So sometimes you get a lot up front and a little on the back end. Sometimes you get a little up front and a lot on the back end. So it depends how much of it they owned, if they have positions as executive producers and stuff like that. And this is just information I don't know. And we don't pocket watch that hard to be, to be. I don't know that I'd ask them, hey, how much? I don't expect them to tell me how much they paid 50. You know what I mean?
Be taken as a threat. So that made, the people we were involved with and associates, it made them more comfortable. And then
They didn't
we were
want to
young.
be taken as a threat.
They didn't take us as a threat. I didn't want to be taken as a threat. So that made, the people we were involved with and associates, it made them more comfortable. And then in return, kind of, we would build these friendships or these relationships with people. And, it was, I think for them, it's always like, I know these guys ain't going to do me wrong. But in reality, it's not because I was fearful. It's just that wasn't who we were. And I think that actually helped us, and it helped us all along the way. Actually helped us solidify some of the, those relationships we had with the biggest jugglers in the world. That I didn't want to be them.
So when you did meet Chapo, you met Arturo Beltran Leyva?
Yes, Arturo Beltran Leyva. I mean, who I met probably, some of the biggest jugglers. I met Nacho Coronel.
Okay.
Alfredo Beltran Leyva, Mayo Zambada.
Okay.
Wow, I mean, big jugglers. I worked with Lobo Valencia from the Millennium Cartel, Mencho.
Okay.
So, in our time from like working with, in Chicago to our time in Mexico, like, we dealt with, Azul's sons, right? He's deceased now. Like, I mean, too many people to actually, name, that we had some type of association with, or understanding, from Los Queenies to Noel Salguero to, I mean, there's so many.
I don't know a lot of these names, but I'm gonna find out.
Individuals that we're around or associated with or did business with,
Obviously, El Chapo, such an infamous name, and obviously, later on you testified. What do you think of him as a person? What was he like on a personal level to deal with?
He wasn't easy to deal with, that's for sure.
Totally different than what they said about Mayo Zambada on this channel.
If you take down, all the drug lords I actually had business relationship with, he was probably the most difficult one.
Look at that. Well, Pete specifically had told us. Well, I don't know. I don't remember who it was. I know Pete stood a while and talked about a whole bunch of people. And out of all the people he spoke of swimmingly, Chapo wasn't one of them. So Jay just said right here, out of all of the dudes we worked with, he was probably the hardest to work with. So if that's the case for him, it was probably the case for a lot of them too.
Which is, something that people don't really realize. Our first dealings with him, just to make it clear, his organization kidnapped my brother at that time, which was Chapo Isidro was still part of his organization. It was his, under his command, Chapo Isidro, who now is, head of his own organization. He's going to actually, be a friend of mine later, but my brother was kidnapped by him over a debt. And even when he had evidence that, we didn't owe the debt, he still made me pay him his money. And he was a lot harder to deal with, that we would rather deal with other people, like his underlings, because they were more on the business side. And, we would just take.
So I'm thinking Chapo Isidro is somewhere along the Lupe Ledesma situation, unless this is a total nother kidnapping. And I hate to think that Jay was kidnapped a whole nother time than what we've heard. That's quite possibly a good question to ask next time. This whole Chapo Isidro story, I'm wondering because he said even after they realized they had no debt, they still made him honor the debt, and that's what Chapo did to them, which got them to meet him in the first place. They didn't owe him $10 million. He said, "Okay, I know, but you still owe me $10 million." So I want to know the connection between Chapo Isidro and Lupe Ledesma.
Take care of the business, and kind of try to keep him on a need to know basis for.
Or I'm wrong, and this is a whole different story that we haven't heard yet. And if it is, we're coming after you, Jay.
But for sure, he wasn't that easy to deal with. I also think it was because he did look at my brother and I as real, like as businessmen, and he always knew that. We were going to try to push, as much as we could. And to him, he had a strong demeanor. So I guess we would just try to get away with as much as we could. As you could tell in the recorded call, right? That wasn't new to him. I was asking him, what bothered him, what people don't realize is that in the drug business, you don't do that. You don't receive a shipment of drugs and then try to get a better price once you have them.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the prices you deal with these are bricks of cocaine.
Just to make it clear, ton.
Right. I mean, he was sitting there. He already had the load. He was sitting there telling Chapo how it was bad. I need some more. Need a better price. This, that, the other. And they're usually like, what? So what? Figure it out. Give my money. Handle your business.
Tons, right?
This is a bricks of cocaine.
Just to make it clear, tons, right? Tons of cocaine.
Tons of cocaine. Okay, you negotiate by tons by this time. So what kind of price? I mean, what price would you pay them, and what price would you sell at? What profit margin on the?
Yeah. So the business, I mean, consists of different deals, right? I mean, it's kind of complex, right? Because that's a book on its own. For the most part, we entered into a partnership, right? That's what the cartel is, right? It's a group of people, right, working together, for one cause, which was, at that time was to make money. And basically, there was times like we would set our own price, which was going to be the fairest price, the cheapest price in whatever city we were actually receiving the drugs at. And people, just to make it clear, we never took advantage. It was like, what's the price? And if we said the price is this, and I need them for this, then that's what it was. But rest assured that they were not going to come back and say, did you just I didn't have to, I wasn't sleep good at night to make sure that it was a fair business, that they were never going to come back and say, hold on, are you taking advantage of, what you're doing? So they, for the most part, the organizations, the cartels respected our business acumen, how we viewed things, how we did things. So, we basically set the price, or we'll negotiate when it came to Mexico, and they always gave us a 10-15% at cost, just to make sure that our organization, was making money and could keep up any of the losses.
So what would the numbers be? I mean, like, would you buy for, say, 12K and sell for 18K, or what would the kind of numbers be?
Yeah, again, depending on what, what the business was. If we were coming from Colombia, obviously it's different, but just say if it was, if we were receiving a shipment of drugs in LA.
If we were coming from Colombia, it'd be different. Like, how many people coming from Colombia?
And just say that was the price. It was 12,000. Then, I would sell in Chicago for 19.5, or in DC for 25, depending on where we're going. In Canada, we would sell them for, 38,000, 40,000, whatever the case, different price, and different regions had different prices, and we would base it off of that.
How, I mean, the network for moving it around the United States, I mean, was this with, it was trucks, I understand, with trailer trucks. I mean, you create your own trucking companies, or you just get truck drivers to carry it, or how does that whole business work of moving it around the USA?
Yeah, so the means were there's a lot of means, right? But for the most part, as I try to point out, our organization being successful, and I was working with, the Sinaloa cartel at the time as a whole, right? Because you do have different people that have different methods, but for the most part, how big organizations work, they're going to work with something that's going to be continuous, something that's, they have different projects going at one time. But for us, we did use trains, we did use airplanes, we did use different, transportation means. But for the most part, it was tractor trailers, long haul, semis. So that was our
long haul trucks, planes, trains, automobiles,
transportation, and
subs.
What we would do, we would actually find independent contractors, independent drivers that had their own, that worked as independent contractors, and find legitimate loads and haul them across, the country.
So some of the other people you're dealing with in Mexico, I mean, the big names. So obviously, El Mayo. What do you think of El Mayo as an individual? He's kind of a mythical status now. But what's he like on a personal level?
This is the tricky part. I'm talking about, how I felt with him, back at that present time. When I'm talking about something, when it comes back to my life, I always like to put myself in that, mindset, state, and feeling. To me, he reminded me a lot of, even nicer probably than my father. He took a liking to my brother and I. We had a very good relationship. He was a fierce man, but he was also one of the, most, I think, fairest. Like, he was, it's hard to explain. I do feel like he had genuine, love and respect for us, because he looked at us young, and, he had enough people in his organization that he respected that had nothing but good things to say about us. So early on, he welcomed us. And he was actually, when it came to prices, when it came to any type of business, he was the one that would be like, whatever you guys decide. And you know what, here's an extra, something for, for you guys. So yes, it doesn't surprise me that he continues to be, the head of the organization and the most successful one for sure.
How about Arturo Beltran?
Sounds like they would have much rather worked for him. Shit, probably still a shot.
Now on the business side, I think he's unmatched when it comes to business. He was fair. He was probably...
Let me tell you, that's a big statement coming from these guys who pride themselves on the business side of the hustle. That they're giving Arturo Beltran Leiva, the props as the businessman.
he's unmatched when it comes to business, and the most successful one for sure.
How about Arturo Beltran Leyva?
Now on the business side, I think he's unmatched when it comes to business. He was fair. He was probably what I consider to be, in terms of economics, probably at that time, he was probably making more money than Chapo and Mayo easily. His organization basically depended on people like me, where, he would bring, large amounts of drugs into, Mexico and other places in the world. And he really didn't traffic drugs into the United States, as a lot of people might assume. He left that for, individuals like me, his brother, Alfredo at the time, and other big drug traffickers. And that's what I try to explain to people, that, the cartel as a whole, it's, the cartel is as strong as the people that are in it, right? And there's different, entities, which, some will be on the business end, some are in the violent side of it. And for him, he brought in a shipment of 20, 25 tons of cocaine at a time, and you had to make a reservation. And in Mexico, you deal in cash. So he had, he would give good prices. He was a businessman, fair businessman. And it was easy to deal with him. He was a calculator. Like, I remember, like, I would grab my phone to, like, calculate a number or something. And before I even press the number, he was already, telling you what it was. Big numbers. Like, he was one of the best businessmen I feel like there was in that world of drug trafficking.
I always got that impression when I was reporting on this stuff back in the day. I felt Arturo just seemed, this guy Beltran Leyva seems to be the biggest one in terms, he's not as infamous, but then he also has a reputation. I've heard some stories about him being, on a personal level, quite a scary guy. I mean, you hear the kind of cannibalism, this kind of stuff.
Again, I think it goes back to this. My personal, what I've seen was that it's always about legacy. And you studied, you worked and you follow the cartels as a whole. To them, legacy, who you are, your name, it's always important. I feel like, from my perspective, from my view of knowing him, that they got caught up, and who, the biggest always, right? The question, who was bigger, and he didn't like for the world or for people to think that he wasn't him, that he wasn't, considered the Lord of the Skies, and that there was another, he self-proclaimed boss of bosses.
Yeah.
And what he would do to show people who he was the things that you hear about. Violent. No limit when it came
I think he's talking about Chapo.
to violent. He would, do things to put exclamation points on the way he did things. And I seen that part of him. Again, for the most part, I think that it always goes back to my relationship with these bosses.
See, with the businessman and the smart guy, at the end of the day, if there's an equal, right, and the equal to you is more violent than you and less logical and, less reasonable, then you end up the way they ended up, in a war with each other. It just seems like it's all for nothing. And I believe that that's something that Dan Crenshaw brings up in that interview. We'll get to that tonight. Mike Jones said I was driving semis for the wrong company. No, you weren't. Because like Jay said the other day, when people tell him, man, I wish I knew you back in the day. No, because he would have had to snitch on you. You know what I mean? So you drove for the right company, Mike. You did good. Mike Jones said the cartels are going to have to change the whole routine and operation. I don't know, man. It's kind of like a question that I want to ask that Detective Matt Thornton. Are we just so far gone that there's no changing things? Can you change the attitude of tyrannical police across the world? Can you change the positions of tyrannical people across the world? I don't know that we can. I don't know.
I didn't want to be them. I have the saying that, in the States, people get money, they get a car, a chain, or whatever comes with that life. In Mexico, you have a little name for yourself, you get a little bit of money. The first thing they want to do is get a little army. They want to have sicarios and hitmen. And they want to play the role of the big
And that was
lords.
my big argument with the Twins in the season 1. Like, bro, all that money, you don't got you an army of your own that's loyal to you and not the organization. Somebody that's there to get you out of situations, that you can't get yourself out of. He just said it. In the States, people buy chains and stuff like that. Out there, you get a little bit of money, you get you an army. That's it. I'm going to stock up on an army.
To the drug lords, that's offensive, to the bosses. You want to take my spot. And they're treated the way they behave. With
There it
violence.
is. You get an army, now you got a target on your back because you went and got an army because Buddy's in his feelings about your position and his position, and how you threaten it. It's just humans are just it's weak. It's a weak little game, bro. Humans give themselves too much credit, bro. You know, we ain't figured it out. We don't know shit. That's what we know, that we don't know shit. Chucky Chingong said, it's many people passing. They can't search everyone. I go to Mexico, it takes 2 hours to pass. Going in, it takes 2 hours. It's too many people passing. They can't search everyone. I mean, they don't search everyone coming back in. You know, I'm sure. I don't know if they do or they don't, but it takes 2 hours to get out. So if it takes 2 hours to get out now, imagine on one of them checkpoints. Somebody in the comments said that he said, I'm somebody that crosses back and forth all the time. He said it would be detrimental, these checkpoints, and I asked him, detrimental to who? To the OC, to the organized crime, or to detrimental to the people that are trying to get across the border, and it's going to take way longer now because of this checkpoint. Mike Jones said that's crazy. 2 hours, damn. And yeah, that's 2 hours without a southbound checkpoint. So just imagine. Just imagine.
My brother and I, on the other hand, you know, we were here for the business, and they treated us like that, and had a great relationship, you know, with him. And I remember one Christmas, he called.
So he's basically saying that they didn't look at them as a threat. And again, he always said he didn't want to be seen as a threat. But we also heard him say that him and his brother looked at each other and looked around the room. And I understand this feeling. You get it when you go somewhere and they're running a successful business and you see how much corners they're cutting, and you're like, I could do this better than them. You know what I'm saying? The twins said it themselves. They looked around like, we could take this joint over, right? We could look at them and say, that's just arrogant, narcissistic talk. Yeah, you know, we could say that. But, you know, they weren't looked at as a threat. They were looked at as a linchpin of the business. Ian said, honey, Shy, we don't know shit as humans. We haven't figured it out yet. It's sad. That's a fact. I believe that. We think we know so much. We ain't figured out the easy things. Color, race, you know, violence, babies, old people. We ain't figured it out. Chucky G. Goon said there's 3 checkpoints where I live to make it home. Damn. That's a lot. What's up with AZ, man? Y'all checkpoints and prisons and shit over there? Wow.
And said, you know, I got a Christmas gift for you. And he always would give away these, like, you know, expensive vehicles, you know. People don't know. I'm sure you heard about this. He would buy 25, 30 Range Rovers at a time. He would order, you know, 20, 30 pickups to give away as gifts, right? And I'm thinking, wow, he's going to give me a gift. Like, you know, he was always generous. And he said, I got 1,800 kilos right there. Sent from. I was like, boss, no, I can't. You know, it's Christmas time. It's like right before the holidays. I said, I don't have, you know, the funds. He said, I'm not asking you for the funds. I'm gonna, you know, lend them to you.
Run you 1,800 kilos. Yeah.
And I'm gonna front you the kilos. But in Mexico, like I said, there's no consignment. And I said, sir, I can't take them because.
Okay, there's the argument for everybody. Say, oh no, but he owed this and they owed that, and he just said clear as day. There's no consignment in Mexico. COD, cash on delivery. Okay? That's why when he was on the phone with Chapo and he told him, I need this work, and you were giving it me at this, can I get it at this? And he said, yeah, all right, buddy, can pick up the money where? Chicago? Okay, good. All right? So get out of the comments. If you know who comments in the comments? People that don't, you know, besides the great people that comment in the comments, but it be people that don't even watch the show, you know, and they talk about things that we've already debunked and covered. You know what I mean? Period. But he just said there's no consignment in Mexico, so they weren't in the business of owing nobody nothing. Chucky said that's why they got jacked so much, because they weren't looked at as a threat. Here's the thing, but they could have been a threat, right? If they would have started putting bags down on somebody, right? But they had so much bread that they didn't have to look like a threat. They could just take that L and get up with you later, you know? Shout out Nathan Wallace on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for being here. Nathan Wallace said, Arturo Beltran Leyva seems as if he was a superior mind in the business of narcotics than El Chapo, which is probably why he was betrayed by him when Chapo gave up his brother to the authorities. When we spoke to Pete about Arturo Beltran Leyva, he had nothing but shining things to say about him. And he said, clear as day, he was smart, he was rich, he was a threat, and they were jealous of him, or he was jealous of him, and that's why that war happened. So think about it. The twins were put in the middle of a war over jealousy from some dudes that helped each other build empires, right? It's a shame. Again, us as humans, we don't got it figured out. We're arrogant.
You know, I'm telling him in Spanish, le voy a quedar mal. I'm going to end up, you know, not keeping up when you want to get paid because it wasn't like planned. And he had me on speaker and he said, and that's why I'm calling you. He said, because anyone else would have said, where do I pick him up?
And I understand where they're coming from. This is, you got to understand, in the hood, there's different kind of dudes. There's the dude that's going to think and the dude that just do things. He's just going to do. He wild. He erratic. Everybody worships him. Oh, he's so gangster. You know what I mean? But then there's a dude that says, no, let's use some logic and common sense here. This is going to leave me in the red. Blah, 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 blah. That kind of character is why they brought him that work. And threw it at him, you know? Ian said the twins could have had their own army if they wanted to. Absolutely. They had the money for it. The only other option that they had, other than what they did and running, was to turn around and face the, you know, face everybody, wipe them all out. Like, that was the other option. That was the third option. You tell me if there's another one. Ivan said, hey, someone needs to step up and write a proper corrido about the twins. Wild story, man. I've heard that before, that someone needs to write a proper corrido for the twins. I asked Peter about it. I said, did they, you know, somebody had asked, and I said, do they have corridos? He said, I don't know, but if they did, I'm sure they've been forbidden from singing them. You know?
Are saying you don't want to do it because you don't want to, you know, leave a bad taste in my mouth. And that's why I'm calling you sent from. You pay me when you're ready.
Now, okay, this is on the Mexico side. On the US, on the Chicago side, I mean, you're running this massive distribution hub in Chicago. So all the gangs in Chicago are buying from you. People are coming from all over the East Coast. Did you have to, I mean, how was that trying to run an operation like that? Did you have to end up using violence to keep things running there? Did you just how did you manage to like keep everything?
Again, I wondered if they needed to use violence to run the organization here in Chicago. They didn't. They said themselves, we bought beef. You got a problem with my homeboy? Cool, we pay that off. Calm that shit down. Otherwise, nobody's going to eat. It's easy to calm shit down like that.
The East Coast. Did you have to, I mean, how was that trying to run an operation like that? Did you have to end up using violence to keep things running there? Did you just how do you manage to like keep everything such a big operation?
To manage, I mean, the operation was, you know, when you go back and look at it, you know, at the scale and the consistency of the operation, you know, we were trafficking anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 kilos a month, you know, traffic, you know, to over a dozen cities in the U.S. and Canada. Being on the business side, I feel like not only were we able to pick and choose like the right people to deal with, we took losses, but, you know, for the most part, I'd rather take that loss than actually, you know, resort to violence. That's how we actually handle our business. What we did was that we made it so that if anyone thought twice about robbing us or did rob us or, you know, try to take advantage of us, like they had nowhere else to go but hopefully retire, because they were not going to be able to sell drugs anymore, because we are the ones that kind of control, you know, the drug trade, basically. So it was one of those situations where just because of the business and the way we ran it, it's like there's nowhere you could actually turn to, right? You know, without, you're not going to be able to take a load of drugs from us or try to compete with us because there's no competition, basically. I feel like we had a monopoly when it came to the cities we were in, because we always had the best prices and we always had the best quality because we had those relationships. And it took quite a few relationships, as you just heard, of all the people that were kind of in our life some way, somehow, to actually keep that going. As far as our time in, you know, at that particular time, you know, in the organization, we were unmatched. There's no one else that could actually, you know, and I say this all the time, you know, to people in the classes, that being successful at both ends of, you know, being in the United States and in Mexico is unique because, you know, this might sound, you know, cocky but Chapo or Mayo or Arturo couldn't do what we did in the United States.
And that's a
But yeah, I could do what they did in Mexico. If that makes, you know, any sense.
The Americans.
But yeah, I could do what they did in Mexico. But
they couldn't do what the twins did here. Language gap, racial gap, all of those things. And Jay believes they could have done what Mayo and Chapo did over there. I don't know. I don't know how that works, you being from this side. But you pay for the right size army, I'm sure.
Chapo or Mayo or Arturo couldn't do what we did in the United States. But yeah, I could do what they did in Mexico. If that makes, any sense.
The American side, that's the side which hasn't really been cut. A lot of journalists in Mexico complain, we never hear about how it's working on the American side. And that's the big complaint from journalists down here that hasn't really been told. Although now we're kind of hearing it with, your story and some others. Now, I covered, some of your story back in the time in my first book, and maybe I got some things right or wrong there. But my understanding was there was this war happened between Beltran Leyva and Chapo, and that started to kind of put pressure on your side because they were fighting over who you're working for. Is that correct? Or how did that, when that war exploded in Sinaloa, and I was covering that around the time in Culiacan back in those days, what did that feel like for you when that was happening?
So now here comes for the tricky part.
Yeah.
As I told this recently, I told this to Congress. I feel like if I ever had an issue with anything that was portrayed was on the government side, was that they took something that my brother and I did voluntarily and they shaped it into what sounded, whatever they were, wanted to promote, was that we were giving ultimatums and we were threatened, by the two most violent drug cartels, the most powerful drug cartels, I want to say, in the world at that time, which we were. Again, me being in that world since I was 7, I try to explain to this, being threatened by drug cartels or members of drug cartels was a part of my everyday life. We were under the gun each and every day.
All right, there's your answer to why they're not worried about when we sit around and we say, oh, they slipping. This is where that comes from.
And you covered enough of these stories. We were under the gun each and every day.
Each and every day.
And you covered enough of these stories, knowing that you understand where I'm coming from. What always kept my brother and I alive, I think, was instinct. We had already, our family had suffered tremendously by that time. And, my kids were getting older and I didn't want my kids to grow up like the way I grew up. And, it was coming to a point where I could see the line being, drawn in the sand. That's what people like to say, that, either I was going to, it was going to come to, a point of no return for us, that we're not going to be able to continue to be who we were as individuals and have that, what we thought was moral compass, right, of not crossing the line, that it was going to get to a point where it was going to, we were not going to have a choice. And that didn't sit well with us. I felt like, my kids were, getting older, and I was seeing my kids being around certain environments that I didn't feel comfortable with. And it was only going to continue, escalate, especially with, what I seen was coming. And I think that for the most part, my brother and I, and it's hard, it's cognitive dissonance that, we thought we were good people. To us, it was a business. And it took, marrying my wife, who, my brother's wife are both daughters of law enforcement, who, it's hard where it's like, they'd be like, no, that, like, it doesn't matter. You're still not doing the right thing. And them wanting more for us for sure had an impact. And I had one of those moments where I would be like, okay, well, what's, I think every drug trafficker gets to a point where it's like, I wish there's a way. And I remember I would pray on that all the time. And, I say this, that I would be like, how? There's no way. And, I feel like I had a spiritual epiphany one day where I woke up with this idea of saying I could cooperate. It wasn't an easy thing to do. I felt like it was going to be the only way I could, like.
So Jay just said right there, clear as day, that we also framed this story like that. So we're not gonna. I guess it comes down to what I said at the end of Cartel Wives. At the end of the day, it was all about family. Period. Point blank. Miss me with the change. It was family. Because he just said clear as day. They always say we were in the middle of a cartel war and our families were threatened, right? Yes, that happened. But we were always under threat from the cartel anyway. So that's not the biggest factor. What it seems like he's saying is the biggest factor was seeing his children in the situations that they were in, seeing his children and wanting something different for them, and it being about family at the end of the day. That family, their family, period. So to me, he just clearly said that trumped the threats. The threats were an everyday thing.
Rid myself of even family members, right? This was all the life we all knew, and I wanted to do something good for my family. And my brother and I, we talked it out, and it was a risk that we were taking, a gamble. You covered those stories back then. it was a war, coming, and we were going to risk our life to cooperate against these, powerful drug trafficking organization cartels, right? In the likes of Mayo Zambada and Chapo Guzman, Arturo Beltran Leyva, and risk our life to try just for the benefit of hopefully getting some credit, for our cooperation. And I think that gets overlooked. I mean, everyone who's, intelligent enough would say, well, you cooperated from March of 2008 to, November 30th of 2008 against drug cartels.
Yeah.
Wow. I was in Mexico.
Wow.
Wow.
In Mexico.
Wow.
Taping it, yeah. So.
Well, then the war started, officially probably by April. And, those threats came.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about the entertainment value in it. Bro, that 9 months, like the show, that could be 24. It's an action film right there. All the sneaking around that they had to do and trying to get on the phone and the manipulating and moving this and that. The TV show, movies, whatever they tell themselves. Let's get in the chat real quick. Jonathan Pantoja said, I think the twins prefer working for Arturo over Chapo or Mayo, unless I got it wrong. Yeah, sounds like that. I mean, they said, I think that they would be okay with working for Mayo too. I think Chapo was the problem. Mike Jones said the twins are writing their book right now. Shout out for Creek562 for the subscription. Appreciate you. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Hit that like button. I think Mike Jones was responding to Ivan saying somebody got to write a proper corrido. Mike Jones, I don't know if you know what a corrido is. It's a song, though. But yes, they are writing a book, and it'll be coming out soon. But he's saying somebody should write a song about the twins. Chucky Chingong said Chapo and Mayo have someone in every border town like the twins. They know they weren't alone. I'm sure they filled the void in Chicago quick. And I don't know. Ask the Prices how quick they filled that void. The Prices at that time. And again, it's two dudes, not one, with all kind of different common senses and uncommon senses. It's pretty crazy. Mike Jones, and soon they would have tried to take over in Mexico. They would have been tied to a tree, and they knew that. Quite possible. We got to ask them that next time. What do you think, in a perfect world scenario, if you were to fight back, how do you think it would have looked? You think you could have pulled it off? I don't know. Shout out Alec. My guys, what's popping? We chilling. We've been here for a while. You got some catching up to do. There's a nice long playback for you. This is our second story of the day. We're going to be out of here soon, though, because I got to go be a Theo real quick. And then I'm hoping to come back and go live again if y'all want to kick it. Chucky Chigong said, yep, your kids will change you. That's what changed my life. Absolutely. Again, I've always believed that for some fighters, that'd be the end of their reign. Mike Jones, hit that like button, peeps. It don't cost a thing. Don't cost a thing. Let's pin that right there. Don't cost nothing. Hit that like button. Salutes Albert Flores on the check-in. Huachito got killed by Chapo when he didn't want to choose sides and automatically fell on the Beltran side. Like, there it is. You choose or you're the enemy. Ian said that was definitely overlooked. These guys risked their life in a cartel war. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done. It's going to look good on a TV show, these guys sneaking around all those months. The pressure. That's why the actor, I'm cool with them picking actors that are like, get a lot of eyes and are popular, but I want an actor that can handle the squeeze, man. Like, it's a lot of pressure in what their life was. Albert, Kino NV said, keep up the good work. I've been waiting to listen to their story from their own words. Kino, make sure you check out the Surviving El Chapo playlist that we have. We cover the whole story in depth. Here it is in the chat. Salutes to you. I'm going to paste it right here. Make sure you check that out. Their whole story out of their mouths. We also did Cartel Wives, the whole story out of their wives' mouths. Make sure you check that out. Share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Right? And here's our Discord channel. Boom. Copy. Paste. Boom. And here's a true crime playlist. We got a bunch of stuff here. Make sure you check it out. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Let's see. Albert Flores said, I wonder what the twins' thoughts were on who told on Arturo when he was in Cuernavaca. Was it Barbie or Chapo? Yeah, was it both? In the TV show, it was Barbie. Um, but it's a good question, so I'm gonna make sure I I note that. Mike Jones said, "Ain't nothing wrong with changing your family. We love our family more than the loot, and that's a fact." Now I was wondering what that meant. Thanks, Shy. You learn something new every day. Yeah, exactly. A corrido is a song about traffickers. It's music. It's regional music about traffickers, and there's a bunch for Chapo, a bunch for Mayo, a bunch for works like that. We'll talk more about that when we get into the Chuy Montana stuff. What else we got here? Ian says, Shy, what role do you think you should play in on this show? I'd be happy to play, any role that I'm offered, and do my best at it. You know what I'm saying? The twins have mentioned in passing that they have characters that they think of me in, and the chat has their own ideas of characters that they think me in, but I'll be glad to do whatever. I'm just looking to, have my representation time. I've been in the game a long time, so I'm not gonna miss out on an opportunity for something big like that. And again, I'm gonna whether I was talking to them on this channel or not, I was gonna be auditioning for whatever they got. That's how this whole thing started. I sent a text to 50 Cent when he announced their podcast, and I said, I sent Instagram, and I said I wanna be in this, but I don't want to play a rat. And 50 immediately responded on his Instagram with every Oscar award winning actor that played a cooperator ever. All right? And then I was like, Fifth, I'm just playing. So that's how this whole thing started. It started with the acting. So it is what it is. Mike Jones says, smoke break. Bet. Smoke him if you got him. Chucky Chingong says, Shy is big bro. We put it in existence. Hold on. We're going to look at his picture again. We're going to laugh at this again. At how we might have to Photoshop my face onto this picture here, all right? Because it's too funny that I could play this dude. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, downloads. Where's he at? Where's Big Bro? We gotta find Big Bro. Here we go. Found him. Dang. Here we go. Bow, that's me in the middle right there, son. I don't know how tall he was, though. But all I gotta do is shave everything down, cut this out, dye this right here. Let this swing the way it go. Grow this out. Give it the young pushback. I think we on and popping. What y'all think? He said, you better pull out the black and gold. He was a shot caller. Yeah, that's on the show. But yeah, there we have it. But yeah, again, I'll be happy to play anything. I play the dude working the store, whatever. Again, I will deliver whatever it is. I will deliver. That's what I do.
Once the war started, it probably progressed. But I was well, then the war started, officially probably by April. And, those threats came, once the war started, it probably progressed. But I was already cooperating. The government for sure knew that we were threatened. But we were working undercover. And I think that the fact that I risked my life to do the right thing gets
So he's basically saying that he saw the writing on the wall. And before they were threatened fully, that he was already on some, we're getting out of here. Or we're not going to get out of here. Mike Jones said, hell no, me playing the brother. What do you think, Mike Jones? Like a rocket? Shave this off, knock it down, see what happens. 773-707 said the DEA dude, Jack Riley, supposedly said that Mayo lost his leg due to his diabetes. Jack Riley says anything. Jack Riley, the same guy that said, I hate what Chapo did to the south side of Chicago. Okay, bro. It ain't had nothing to do with none of y'all, huh? Just Chapo did that? Oh, man. Shout out Ian.
The cover. And I think that the fact that operating, the government for sure knew that we were threatened. Started, officially probably by April. And, those threats came, once the war started, it probably progressed. But I was already cooperating. The government for sure knew that we were threatened. But we were working undercover. And I think that the fact that I risked my life to do the right thing gets overlooked. And that's the only thing I won't ever give up. that thank God my brother and I survived. And, if it was for a selfish reason, or for whatever reason, I know I'm never going to be able to undo those wrongs, but we did it. That's the difference.
You did time in federal prison. Was it in federal prison you did time? And what was it like doing time? That was after you'd cooperated, and so were you in danger there? Did you have to be like segregated?
So, I trained myself at the end of November 2008. It took several years for me to actually get my prison sentence. I got sentenced in January of 2015 to 14 years in prison, which I had to serve exactly 12 years for. I spent in those 12 years, I spent almost 3 years segregated, which is probably the most horrible thing you had to go through as a human being. I think, especially for me, who have a twin brother, who you're separated, alone in a 24-hour-a-day lockdown, similar to what Chop was going through today. Prison. It was a long time. I had plenty of time to think about what was going to be the next chapter in my life. There's plenty of times where wish I felt like I was always a little bit more intelligent, but I felt like the stupidest thing was that I entered the drug trade. And I spent
that was arrogance and humility all at the same time, right? Boy got that shit mastered.
12 years, my brother and I, and wish I felt like I was always a little bit was going through today. Prison. It was a long time. I had plenty of time to think about what was going to be the next chapter in my life. There's plenty of times where wish I felt like I was always a little bit more intelligent, but I felt like the stupidest thing was that I entered the drug trade. And I spent 12 years, my brother and I, and basically we're placed in a WITSEC for prisons, which is still prison, just a little bit more. They add different security measures to keep you kind of safe, as possible.
So now you're 42 years old, and you're kind of rebuilding a life outside of this world. I mean, how does that feel like? What's it like trying to do that? How do you feel, right now inside trying to do this, talking to the police, talking to the people who used to go after you? What's it like trying to do that? And what do you see now in the world about where this is going with this trafficking and stuff?
So for the most part, having that time in prison, like my family has suffered a lot, some of through our own choices, that we have to be responsible for. And I feel like I have this feeling or this need to do something with, all my knowledge and all my expertise. I feel like there's something missing, and I believe in second chances and redemption. I'm Christian. I believe that I was forgiven for my sins. And now what do I do with that? And the Bible always says that you share your suffering, you share your testimony. And I shared it already in a way, right, in courts. But I think this time it was a little bit different. It's like, to me, it's means to me, for my children, for what's left of my legacy, because I'm always talking about how these drug traffickers are always chasing legacy. I think I kind of took that, and I'm like, you know what? I want to make sure that by the time I leave here, that my legacy is something positive, that I was able to, leave a good impression for my children and for all those people who have suffered from drug trafficking, that there is a way where we can actually make a difference and make some change for good.
Okay, so you've got to the...
There it is, y'all. It was a good interview. We got a lot of stuff in there. There was a lot to talk about. It was a good conversation. We got a little bit of insight. He got to talk about the Dons and what they were like and which ones were easier to work with. Some of the stuff we heard here. But it was dope. I didn't hear nothing crazy. He didn't give up too much. You know what I'm saying? We're safe. I'm sure we got some stories coming. But again, they're under exclusive deals. There's a lot of things they can't talk about. But it was a good interview. And you see, Chucky, we could sit here and call it, what'd you say earlier? Pushing it, basically. But that's his redemption song. That's how he's chasing it. He's always been under the threat, evidently. Mike Jones said, that's you, Shy. That's you, Shy. Ian said, you definitely could pull off their big bro. Perfecto said, the speed of the video is up, or is that just me? Yeah, I sped it up. Spaces, I'm just trying to cramp for time, you know what I'm saying? Perfecto said, never mind. But yeah, it was sped up a little bit. Sometimes I listen, when I'm by myself, I listen at 2 times the speed. Just to, there's a lot to fill the day with. All right? But we did it. We kicked it. We hung out. I appreciate y'all for being here. I'm thinking about going live again in a couple of hours. Hundreds in the chat if you guys are going to be around later. And I think we should go live later on. Later, I might want to get into a couple of things. I might want to get into getting into the Chuy Montana story and get into Jay's interview with Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw is one of them good old boy congressmen, and they had a conversation that I'd like to cover. I don't know, amongst any other things that we find. Trying to get back into the swing of the live thing. So y'all let me know if y'all going to be around, and I'll be back. I'm gonna go check in real quick and that's it. You know what I mean? Love from London. Salutes to Gary Richards. Love from London, bro. Appreciate you, London. Salutes to you, man. Thank you for being here. What did we cover today? We covered the UFC. Let's see the poll. What did the poll have to say? The poll says we about to end the get your votes in. Get your final votes in right now. We got 27 votes. Get your final votes in the poll right now. Where the crowd fight, the bad scorecard, and the fighter pulling out. The Cartel, just coincidence, or Shy's tripping. All right, we got just coincidence and Shy's tripping tied at 11% right now, with the Cartel being 78%. The Boogeyman catches the blame again. All right, we got some hundreds up, so I will be back this evening, not long from now. 773 said I'll be here, got my notifications on. Salutes to you. YouTube still makes it a big deal, makes it hard to send out notifications, so I hope you guys are getting it. Shout out Sky Enterprise on the check-in, hundreds up. I'm going to end this poll right now, and the poll. And the answers are 77% says the Cartel. 11% said just coincidence. Shy is tripping. 11% says Shy is tripping. So there's our answer. The Cartel did it. The big bad monster. Mike Jones said, bro, I ain't been getting the invites. Yeah, that's YouTube. YouTube sucks for sending out notifications. There's really nothing I could do about it, but that's why I put, 2 songs at the beginning of the episode lately. Some people walk in and walk out. That's on them. But I put those 2 songs so that hopefully this pops up on more people's feed as we're live and y'all see it and get to join us, because I know YouTube sucks at sending out the notification. But we'll be back in a bit. That's for sure. If I'm not, I'll make sure I'll make a post about it. But I'm 99.99999% sure I'll be back. Ian said, hell yeah, I'm not getting notifications. It just happened to catch your channel when I jumped on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, Shy, from Ivan. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate you watching. And I appreciate the good luck, so thank you. But yeah, YouTube ain't going to give you the notifications. I'm going to make it a habit to go on my Discord and announce it there. So if you guys got Discord, make sure you go up in our Discord link. But I don't really know what I could do about YouTube and the notifications. I'll look into it. There's a couple of things that got glitches that I want to fix. The TTS got glitches. A lot of things got glitches I'm trying to fix up. But again, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. And I'm looking for something to get out of here with. A song to get out of here with. I'm going to I got songs that I did that I don't remember. I don't remember where they came from. I'll look at the name of the song and I don't remember doing the song until I hear the song. But no, I'm not gonna pick blind. I'm gonna go with what I played at the beginning. It's called Ready to Go. Basically, it's not my time till I'm ready to go. Again, thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button. Make sure y'all visit the Ill Shop. The link is in the chat. I'm gonna make sure that these things end up in the description. And I'll see y'all in a little while, man. I'll see y'all in a little while. Peace. My words gon' stay, my soul is too strong. I'ma live on in the lyrics.
get your life right, let's go. If it's my time, I'ma kill each rhyme, eat each beat, bleed each line, feed these streets, cross each line to this motherfucking industry. Give me mine, shine, big check. Somebody call Jay, tell him I got next. LA relay, brought that desk. Jimmy Iovine, I'ma run that jet. Alicia Keys, let's talk about sex. Scenes in a movie on a Hollywood set. Steam the jacuzzi if you wanna get wet. Everything I seen in my dreams will go get. I know when I go, I'ma break every heart in Chicago. From way out west to the lie, though I survive, though I will not go. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole. That's where they want me, but I won't go. I won't break with that on my soul. It's not my time till I'm ready to go. 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 It's not my time till I'm ready to go. Success better than death, better than letting the wind take my breath, better than slaving for you with no rest. I'd rather make my dollars off of my cents, rather get paid, laid on the beach in the shade. Never here but I can't stay, back to the block, back to the spot, cause it's hot and the ghetto still need to be saved. My work ain't done, brand new pot, new pun, they both came back, made one. Me, C-H-I-Y, won't this industry honor me? Lost in the hate where the grind is be, landed a great unsigned MCs, murder for the paper, send it to your maker, if you try to design me. I've been there and done it, the hundred, for stacking these hundreds for things that I wanted, seeing you flaunt it, me jumping on it, taking what's yours and make like I own it. This world is mine, relax, I'm taking my time, pushing these fakes out the shine, blowing these birds out the sky, moving these hoes out the shy, making it mine, watching it rise. Respect the design, witness how far I have climbed, witness the madness inside of my mind. Why am I asking and wondering why? I'm willing to die, long as my city survives and make it through poverty's crimes. Break through the hate, see through the fake and the lies, and thank God that I am alive. Eyes closed, in a box in a hole, that's where they want me, but I